Lounge Radio. With your hosts, Dark Sakura, Sky, and Loki.
Happy 2014 to everyone. That sound you heard was contract sending consumers weeping over their favorite games being delisted from various services. Could this be a sign of strained relationships to come in 2014? All this and more on tonight's episode of the show where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. This is Orange Lounge Radio, episode number 534 for this January the 5th of 2014. My name is Rob Roberts, here to talk with you about what's going on in video gaming with all of you guys participating, be it live at the Voice of Geeks Network, live.vognetwork.com, or via the podcast feed, be it on iTunes Podcast or Stitcher or TuneIn or YouTube or however you choose to listen to the show. My name is Rob Roberts, which I believe I already said, but I have not said her name. She is the one and only Dark Sakura, or Jamie Summers.
Fuck this thing.
And since you deserve to have your name said twice too, Dark Sakura, or Jamie Summers.
Double fuck.
How does one... No, let's not go there. What are you cursing out your iPad?
Yeah,
Why?
because of my autocorrect that I still leave on because fuck it. I've had a rather off day myself because I normally do my big Tumblr post every day, and I didn't until I got here.
I'm having a super off day today, and I'll tell you in a minute after I've introduced everybody, but just like,
I
my
went
gosh.
to the gym today though.
Yeah?
Which also set off my day because I normally go on Monday, but I went today since I've got plans tomorrow. Because oh my god, I'm employed. I only have 2 weeks of freedom.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And now we're just praying that you're not going to have to work Sundays, because that's going to cause a real interesting monkey wrench for...
I'm going to... It's one night I think I can... I'm pretty sure I can get
good.
I can get that night off with my eyes closed.
VOG is going to get real interesting if she doesn't get Sunday nights off, but we're all crossing our fingers. So.
Anyway, so yeah, it's just been, and I left the house because of sports ball. There's nothing that motivates me to leave the house and go to the gym like sports ball.
Now, here's
I got back, and it was still on.
Yeah, sports ball goes on for a very long time. But how crazy is the gym right now? Because you have everybody that's like, oh, my New Year's resolution is to go to the gym every day. Now, I imagine there's a good percentage of already puttered out after 2 days, where it's like, fuck this and fuck that. But you went today. How was it today?
It was really dead.
Oh,
it was super dead.
Wow.
Well, I went at 12:30, and I stayed until close to 2. No, I left the house more around 1, and my workout only takes about an hour. I had no trouble. There were a few new faces, but I think that the biggest crowds are the ones that come after work.
After work, yeah.
And so until I know what my schedule is, I'm keeping on my regular, know, I'm usually either a Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Thursday.
Since it is a video game show, have you been working in any of the extra gaming stuff in your routine yet?
No, and I meant to play DDR. I need to actually take down my the other dance pads because I told you I got a whole bunch of those thick ones. What were the good ones called?
The metal pads.
Not the metal ones. The
Red Octane or whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking Informer. That was a Canadian rapper song.
That was Snow.
But that was a song, Informer,
yes,
right?
Informer.
Okay.
Ignition.
Oh,
Ignition.
Thank you. There he is, Techmaster Loki, here to save the day via Skype. You were just dying over there wanting to scream it out, huh, Loki?
I was going to wait.
Well, you didn't. That's fine. How you doing, Loki?
That's why I said I was going to.
How are you doing, Techmaster Loki?
I'm doing okay.
Good. And for those that missed the memo a couple weeks ago, because I know we've had some folks that have been out of the habit of listening because of the holidays and everything, Loki is joining us via Skype for about a month or so. He is on baby watch because Mrs. Loki is due before the 20th, so that could literally be any day now.
Yeah, any day now.
Yep. So Loki is there just in case he has
and
to.
And I bet she wishes it was 5 days ago.
Get the car. Yeah.
She's hoping by next Friday, I think.
Okay. Is there a particular reason? Is there a sale on Monday or something? Or I'm kidding.
Right. I don't know.
You always have to wonder.
I think it's mainly just so that she can get more time off, I guess, because then it'd be the weekend and that kind of thing.
See, there's a trick to it.
This country
I know,
is
Nelly.
so screwed up because in other countries, like there's paternal leave.
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck? We get like the least amount of maternity leave of practically anywhere in the world. It's so stupid.
Yeah. But
Thank you, capitalism.
Well, Loki, don't expect to get paternity leave from this program because you heard what Dark Sakura said. No, I'm kidding. You take all the time you need. But I know you. You'll be back here ASAP because you'll be like, I need a break.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Also joining us here in studio, say hello to the one and only voice of the show, VX Jason XV, XYZ, LMNOP.
That's me.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty all right.
How long do we get your deep baritone voice for here at OLR Studios?
As long as you want me.
Well,
No, not seriously.
I was going to say, aren't you going back to Colorado at some point?
Yeah,
I have duct tape.
Well, the running inside joke between me and Cial has been that I've just been chilling, just sleeping underneath the table. So,
Yeah.
Well,
that works.
Arrangements could be made. No, I have my work obligations are wrapping up at the end of this month, so we'll probably be driving for the first show of February.
Okay.
I imagine.
There you go.
Current plan, anyways.
All right, well,
We'll see
I
what
feel like we have
happens.
to have like a goodbye show. Bye, Jason, for now.
In
In parentheses, for now.
That's sounding like it'll basically be happening. So
Okay.
we'll see.
All right. Well, and for those that don't know, Jason does commute like 90 minutes just to be here on the show Sunday night. So he does a lot. He doesn't only do that; he does the whole YouTube thing. So, and I mean, my God, over the years, Jason really got us set up with the website and everything. Like, I know Deekman did a lot of the coding and the setup, but you did all the, like, making sure we have a place to host it and all of that and helping him out. You guys have been working on that. And although we are in due need for an update, maybe that's a New Year's resolution a little bit this year. But yeah, you've just done so much for the show, and I don't think people realize because you're not always here talking. But the last few months, we've been able to get you here talking, so that's good. Now,
and
people,
at least
know
I'll
you.
have a 13 seconds of speech in shows continuing for the foreseeable future.
There you go. Great.
Well, plus 30 seconds for the outro. So I will have my standing minute on this show for as long as I can continue to do so.
Rama said that you're our answer to Barry White. So I'm wondering how many children are going to be conceived to your voice.
I will take that as an incredibly flattering compliment. And hit
that-
me up on Twitter to let me know.
And that comment coming from live.vognetwork.com. Maybe I should have Jason say that.
Live. Yeah, when I can say it straight.
So hot.
We do tape live Sunday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and you can join the festivities at live.vognetwork.com.
Well, I'm fired. I see. That was the trick the whole time. You guys brought Jason here because you want to replace me. I see how it is. You're
Why are
just
you looking
sick
at
of
me?
Because Loki, I can't look at him. He's on Skype.
You could, but you told me to turn off the camera.
That's true. That's true. I was worried about bandwidth and everything. All right. Anyhow, welcome back, Jason. And Jason's also helping me stay grounded tonight because, okay, so we were talking about this a little bit before the show, that, like, I'm just a total, like, space cadet today. And if you were to ask Alan, my partner, he would say that I'm already, like, the most forgetful guy anywhere, and it's totally true. But, like, today was just, like, especially bad. Like, okay, so we're sitting there. For those that have never participated with the show live, we always do a quick call at the end of Bobby Blackwolf's show because he always is, of course, the show live before us here at VOG Network. And so after that call's done, we're usually sitting here in studio for about 7 minutes while Bobby wraps things up, does a transition song so we can take over the feed and do our thing. So we're just kind of sitting here in studio, la 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 la, and Jason kind of pipes up and goes, "Hey Rob, are you gonna call Loki?" I'm like, shit. So
with like less than 2 minutes
Yeah,
for
like-
us to get started. Our
Exactly.
song was already running.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're missing the fourth host.
Exactly.
Is he out tonight? I forgot I forgot to ask.
No, and then after that, he says, "Is there anything else you need me to remind you to do?" And I just look at him and I go, "How do I put on pants?" And then the most hilarious part of all, while the little thing, and the podcast listeners don't usually hear this, so I'm gonna play this just for the podcast listeners. Here's something for the live experience.
You're listening to the VOG Network. Up next, the show where every gamer has a voice, Orange Lounge Radio, live.
Right? So that's playing. And while that is playing, literally the opening theme song comes right after that song. Right while that song is playing, I said, "Oh shit, I don't have my voice recording program up." So I'm like launching quickly Adobe. So yes, Jason did need to remind me to do something else tonight. Apparently,
It was a very good first 5 minutes of the show.
Meanwhile, I was sitting here reading the chat room in Tumblr. Like,
yes.
I don't.
Well, that's
give
what
a
you do every week.
fuck. Hey,
All right.
I participate.
Rageinator says,
Mostly.
I know why Sky's forgetful. Dude, it's called Alzheimer's. At 35?
Ouch.
Like, I know 35 is old to some people, but let me tell you a couple things. A, it's not. B,
Start eating your
it's
blueberries.
really not. Eating more blue. I could eat blueberries.
C. Get off
Actually-
my lawn.
Actually, I will say this. When I was studying nutrition, one of the research papers that I wrote was about how blueberries are good for improving memory capacity and preventing memory loss. So just saying.
Excellent. You know, ActDeft in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com, and I promise we'll get to games after this. ActDeft says, Jason the assistant. You know, in some ways it's kind of true. Like, I would say he's the intern, but he's, you know, obviously, because we haven't had Drew in forever, so he's basically fired. So I could say Jason is kind of the intern or the assistant, but the assistant is a good term because the assistant really does all the work, and then everybody else takes credit for it. So I think this is a very fitting title for Jason because he does the
He's
YouTubes
the administrator.
He is.
He's the
He could
administrator.
ruin us real good if he wanted to.
I could ruin us too.
I have the power
All right.
that I will hopefully
But-
never
All right,
exercise.
Bring it down. Bring it down. I'm just kidding.
But
What?
I was going to say, though, that I owe Drew because Drew helped me get my job.
Yeah, so thank you. So Drew is still working with us.
Yeah, kind
In a
of.
way.
It's keeping me in money.
All right, just don't let him knock over any tables at your work. All right.
Thankfully, they're rooted to the ground.
Good. Okay, games. I promise games. I have a couple things I want to talk about at the top of the show. Two, like, mini kickoff topics tonight. And one of them, tying into, we brought up Bobby a minute ago, and on his show tonight, they were having what I was calling a wank fest, and I mean that in the most loving way. But not too much love, about the Oculus Rift. They were talking about the Oculus Rift a lot, and, you know, I've tried the Rift. I played that at Dragon Con. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was good in, like, 15-minute chunks, because I started to get a little, I'm old, remember? Yeah, I liked it in small doses or whatever. But that got us to a conversation here in studio. We were talking about peripherals, and Jason said, you brought up a game that you were talking about the Rift or something, and we were talking about how this game was awesome in arcades. And what game were we talking about?
Prop Cycle.
Prop Cycle. Who remembers Prop Cycle in the arcade?
Hands in the air.
I worked at an Namco arcade when it was new.
For the listeners that may not know Prop Cycle, Dark Soccer, what is Prop Cycle?
Fucking annoying. It's a giant exercise bike hooked up to a huge monitor, and basically you pedal it and steer around trying to pop balloons and do tricks and go through holes and try not to burn your legs off. And some people hook them up to Addams Family pinball tables.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I've heard about that. The reason why I bring that up is because arcades have sort of been sunsetting a little bit, as we know them anyway. Arcades are more turning into Reno for little kids. And I say Reno because it's a little more busted than Vegas. So these arcades are turning into busted little places for kids to gamble their money away and get tickets.
Does that mean they're Renettes?
They're little Renettes. That's what they are. They're the biggest little quarter munchers in the world. But with this, obviously, you have all these, ticket spinning games and so forth. But we're starting to see like these games that were very unique experiences in the arcade kind of slowly go away. Or when they do have arcade games, it's all I see. It's either like driving games, are an excellent example, like Mario Kart, where you actually sit in the freaking cabinet. But I'm thinking back and I'm going like, you know what? No child is ever going to get to experience, unless they go to a retro gaming event or a convention of some sort, no child is ever going to get to experience playing Star Wars in one of those freaking cabinets that moved to the left and right as you sat in it.
Oh.
Now, there I go being old again. But seriously, for those that haven't experienced it, you poor bastards, you're really missing out. Like, being old rules for no other reason than getting to play the Star Wars motion cabinet.
Oh, no. There were more. Remember
Oh, yeah.
the Space Harrier cabs and the Afterburner
The
cabs?
Afterburner would go completely upside down, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Almost.
And then
Yeah,
the
it would.
Starblade,
Yeah.
which we had a deluxe Starblade at the Dollar Theater, and the guy would just be like, "Oh, it's you." Infinite credits.
So, Jason, go ahead.
I was going to say there are different classes of cabinets, of course. There's just the standard stand-up, there's sit-down, and then there's... I don't think I've ever been in a moving Star Wars cab before, but I've definitely been in a sit-down, non-motion version. But I remember seeing that Afterburner cabinet. There's Daytona USA, for example. You get a little... The range of machines is anywhere from a bucket seat to a damn near full-size car that you get into and jolt around as you run into things and people run into you. And that still happens. GameWorks in Arizona has really, really nice Initial D 5 machines when I was there, and Time Crisis keeps getting bigger and then smaller to save money and then bigger when the new game comes out. I think I agree that the flashy, like, huge level of it is dying down in terms of how much you'll see it. Just in general, you go in an arcade you've never been before.
And just to be clear, that is my question in all this. So if you guys over at the chat room want to answer this, live.vognetwork.com, is the day of the giant, pompous, what the fuck peripheral done?
I think the day of innovation in the arcade is done.
Heck no, it's not done. That's the whole reason they have certain games in the arcade. For example, Tetris with a giant fucking controller.
That is pretty cool. Like, even me, I'm 35, and when I saw that big Tetris machine in the arcade, I was like, ooh, shiny! And I ran over to it and fed it all my money to play with that giant joystick, because it was, kind of funny.
And it's freaking annoying.
It is a little bit. But it's a ticket spitter at the end of the day. You get tickets depending on how well you do.
As is Super Monkey Ball, as is... Fruit Ninja isn't, but
Doodle
Dave &
Jump.
Buster's and whatnot. Yeah, Doodle Jump, Infinity Blade, Fruit Ninja, Re-Rave pretty soon, if not already in certain arcades, yeah.
Going to our chat room at live.vognetwork.com just to catch up on some comments from the live participants. Tiger Claw says, which Star Wars, the one from Atari in the 80s or the Star Wars Trilogy arcade? Now that you mention it, they were both pretty cool because the Trilogy one had that giant lightsaber battle with Darth Vader, right? But I was talking about the old school 80s ones.
The Vector.
Yeah, the Vector games. Let's see. And some folks talking about the Power Glove because, like, peripherals on a smaller scale. Not all of them work. If you think about it, this show exists because of one of those pompous peripherals in the arcade that got people moving, right? Dance Dance Revolution. That's how Dark Soccer, myself, and Loki all met, and met you too, Jason.
Yep,
it was all through DDR. So,
yeah.
and that was.
I still remember the day that we actually really, really hung out was the day that we took the trip to Milpitas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and played Para Para,
which was also pompous. Peripheral. Orange Wright says, didn't F-Zero's AX cabinet move too? Yes, it did, and that's one of my all-time favorites. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Also, SJ100 Matt talking about a big convention from this weekend that I know a lot of my friends back east went to. SJ100 Matt says, I went to MagFest this weekend, and there were a ton of people who brought their kids to the show and had them play a bunch of the classic games there. For example, I saw a dad play Classic Oregon Trail on an old Apple II with his 6 to 9-year-old kid. I later saw that same family playing Classic Gauntlet together. Oh, that's
that happens at Atari Party, though.
Yeah,
people.
There's little things like that everywhere. In Penny Arcade Expo, that's one of my favorite places. Is the Classic Game Room.
Yeah.
I was gonna make the point that playing it after the fact is not as strong as when it is the culture of what you're doing in your, when you're growing up. But then again, I have missed a ton of games and gone back to play them to really understand what was going on. Not to mention, I never whenever I talk to friends that have been computer geeks their whole life, they'll talk about their VX Spectrum and their Trash 80 and their Apple IIe, Apple IIG, Commodore 64, and the whole lot. I don't even remember what my computer was, but it was my first computer, but it was an IBM PC running DOS. I have quite literally never owned a computer that was not a classic Macintosh or an IBM PC DOS/Windows. I knew a friend with a Commodore 64, and I took in a fair amount of knowledge and, got used to the sound and the feel and how you actually use that machine. But all of these other systems, like, I'd never owned a console before, an SNES, but I still know a pretty damn good amount of games from back then. Mm-hmm. Reasonably so. Mm-hmm. So, like, will 6-year-old kids today not understand an Apple IIe? Of course they will. how they adapt it depends on how they wind up playing it.
Let me steer us back on path a little bit, because we're veering from the original topic here, and with good reason. But okay, so the 6-year-old certainly can still experience the Apple IIe and all that. And we had a story last week about how the archive.org is bringing back old games, and we all know what emulators are and all that. And even so, those old machines are going to exist and so forth. But steering us back to where we were, that experience of sitting in a moving Star Wars cabinet while playing Star Wars. I mean, there might be a couple of those machines still in existence, but it's not something a lot of people are ever going to get to play.
I do know of one, not Space Harrier, Afterburner that was in working condition that was at Scandia. I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah, who knows?
But
it was years ago.
But it was there as of I think a year and a half ago, which was the last time I went.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not every arcade. You're talking about one arcade happens to have this machine. It's not nearly as prolific as it once was. So now, Loki, let me go back to you a minute, because you were saying that yes, we still have the pompous peripherals, but it's just they too have shifted to ticket spitting.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, there's a lot of games, especially I think in arcades now, that's all you see is the big, flashy games. It's either going to be a driving cabinet for a game, or it's going to be a gun game with, some elaborate weapon attached to it, or, like a Dance Dance Revolution machine. It's got to be something flashy to get your attention, because, you're not going to play just a regular game in the arcade.
Mm-hmm. And little kids love flashing lights. Boy, do they ever. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. For me, I kind of see it transitioning. I do see a lot of the ticket spitter, but it really bums me out to think, like, when I talk about Prop Cycle, there's going to be a lot of people that just don't know what that really is.
Or the snowboarding games, the skateboarding games,
Yeah,
Alpine Racer.
Yeah, those games are fun. Or even like the old skeet shooting games where you had the giant gun. Like, no arcade's going to have a gun in it like that anymore. Like, these
Unless
look
it's
like guns.
the Cabela's hunting redneck game.
Or it's the thing you put 50 cents in at Disneyland.
I don't know. Some people make really bad decisions when it comes to the arcade stuff. I mean, remember Scandia in Sacramento here? They replaced all their skee-ball machines with a giant fucking shooting gallery thing.
It's still there.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, funny.
It's silly.
It's strange. All right. So anyhow, if you have some thoughts on this, you can always email us, mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. I want to move into our second kickoff topic. This one will be really quick. This is more of a follow-up of sorts, but I wanted to come clean on the show because I'm sure some folks are going to have some something to say about this. But I did something over the weekend, and because of this something I did, there's going to be a PlayStation 4 showing up on my porch on Tuesday from Amazon Prime. So I finally took the plunge and bought a PlayStation 4. And I posted this on Twitter because I don't know what I was talking about, something else. And I was like, oh, yeah, I bought a PlayStation 4. One of the first replies I got was, of course you get sassy replies. Everybody likes to be sassy on Twitter. And one of the first replies I got was from Flacco Jones, who said, oh, Rob must have really wanted to play Don't Starve because the system is only as good as the games that are on it, and Don't Starve is coming out for PlayStation Plus in January. So, going back to the OLR golden rule, that must be what finally broke Rob. And
clearly that's not the case since I bought that for you on Steam.
Exactly. It's like, no, I already have that on Steam. But no, well, it's a couple things. A, when the PlayStation 4 first came out, I didn't quite have the finances that I did after, now that we're past, the holidays and everything like that. I had better finances, so I was able to finally get one. And also, I think what pushed me over the edge, obviously, I would like to play Resogun and some of this other stuff that's on the download. Like, I'd like to at least try Contrast. And, even though I already have Don't Starve on PC, I'll probably play it on console too, because I tend to do that. But then also, I still want to really play Need for Speed, and a friend's able to get me a sweet deal on Assassin's Creed 4, so I'm like, all right, I'll try to play those games too. And the other thing that's weighing on my mind, I'm going to get judged for this, but the Final Fantasy XIV beta test starts next month, so I have to be ready for it. So that's what finally pushed me over the edge, and I got my PlayStation 4. Now I got to find one of those stinking cameras. The cameras are totally,
Best
nowhere.
Buy.
Really?
Order it on Amazon. Just
Amazon?
Nope, it's not on Amazon.
Not
sold
even
out
listed?
through their partners for $120.
GameStop online?
Maybe. I'm gonna have to dig around a little more to find it, but yeah. So I got my PlayStation 4. So I will have more to say on that next Sunday when I actually get it all set up.
Def is judging you.
Is he?
I'm kind of judging you a little bit.
Go ahead and judge. Why are you judging me?
Because I judge you all the time.
I
I'm
can come
getting
over
mine
and
after
I can
I'm
bring a
working.
controller and
You
we
can
can
bring
actually
a controller, do
play two-player
multiplayer.
games.
Yeah.
I'm getting mine after I start working, so
Yeah, there you go.
not
I'll get
a big
one
deal.
too. And Loki will probably get one as well. Oh, come on. Everybody in chat's like, /me is judging. Shut up. Dark Tetsuya, where's our eye of judgment? Shut up.
Ba-dun-dun.
Breakman in chat. I got drunk and bought songs on iTunes. Sky gets drunk and buys a PlayStation 4. He's way more hardcore than me. I was surfically pober, Ossifer.
And
No.
all I did was buy a technologically fancy deadbolt.
You know what the second sassy tweet I got? So I got Flacco Jones' tweet was the first sassy tweet. You want to know what the second sassy tweet was?
One
that I
of
got?
us. One of us.
No, I
I
got
don't know.
I got plenty of that. No, the second I think one of my friends who works for Sony actually tweeted that one. One of us.
Yep.
No, the second tweet I got was from First Mate Slidekick over at GameBuoy.org, who just replied with #Team Xbox One, and I'm like, just don't start that shit with me. Do not start that fucking war with me right now. I'll get an Xbox One as well, but probably over the holidays. I'm not buying them the same month. It's too expensive. But the holidays, I'll have enough saved up.
we're probably not getting an X-Bone if we do until much, much later.
Yeah, I'm like, but then there'll be that new Halo or so. I don't know what games you guys are really into,
I
but
think
there'll be
that
something that you're gonna be like, I need it.
Well, I think our opinion now is just we don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. I mean, we're sort of like, what are we doing? How much stuff do we have on Steam? And we have new computers.
Is that a weird place to be though? Because you guys were such collectors before. I mean, your vault and everything.
I think that we've really turned our hearts back towards our classics. You know, and we love all the new stuff, but I mean, there's hardly anything now that comes out on a console that we can't find either the same game or something as good on PC. And, you know, we just sunk $900 into both of our computers, which, granted, it would have been a lot more if we needed new graphics cards, but our graphics cards were already great. And now I'm playing everything without, you know, a hiccup. I didn't even think about wanting to go back in the other room and, you know, out of my warm computer room and into the cold, cold, cold living room.
See, for me, it's kind of the opposite. Like, I like to get away from the
Well, it's warm in
computer in
here.
the office once in a while and, you know, sit on the couch and watch. Well, because I turned up the heat for OLR because I had friends coming over. But you know, I like to plop on the couch and enjoy a game once in a while, you know?
Well,
So.
you know, I don't really, like, usually if I'm gonna leave the room, like, I'll take my DS in the front room and, was that me or you?
I think it was you.
Okay, well,
anyway.
no, mine's on mute. Sorry, it's iPhone time, everybody. But I'll take my DS into the front room while Dan's doing something, or, you know, I like to sit in there and crochet, but I haven't really had too much of an urge to sit down and play anything on the console. The last controller I picked up was an Xbox controller to play Skullgirls, and I'm probably going to be starting Rectier. But other than that,
All right. Well, I will be enjoying my PlayStation 4, and I'll tell you more about it next week after I have it and all. But for now, let's talk about what we have been into this week in a segment we call How Was Your Gaming Week? And what types of video games have you been playing this week? Dark Sakura.
well, I played Skullgirls, playing Final Fantasy XIV again, just trying to get on there a little bit more active. Gonna do that stupid quest that I hate, and I'm stuck at a dungeon. So I'm also playing Mass Effect 3 again because I had to fix Becky Shepard. That's usually Becky will give me her Xbox save. I go and, you know, modify it and give it the right color hair because the default red hair in that game sucks. So I fix it, and then Loco Poco asked me who I mained in Skullgirls, and I used oh god, what's her name? Who's the princess lady?
Well, by saying Princess Lady, hopefully that clues
Yeah,
the chat
'cause
in
she's
enough.
cool.
I've not played it, so.
And I'm about to. I actually tried to start Rectier last night, but I didn't get very far. And what else was it? Because I bought something, and now for the life of me, I cannot remember. Parasol, by the way. Parasol is who I was trying to remember. And Dan and Queen Samia just reminded me too. And Dan and I are supposed to be starting back on Borderlands 2 again. God, I don't know why I can't remember the names of stuff today.
Good, it's not just me.
Well, no, I told you
fourth
I've
day
been like
hangover.
this all day. I've just been kind of maybe I need more coffee. Rob, coffee.
You really want more coffee? I can make that happen.
Actually, yes. No, you don't have to keep doing it. Same one, please. It was good.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Rob. No. And I actually and then for New Year's, actually, we did not do our Rock Band thing. We actually had Epic Cards Against Humanity.
Nice.
With the holiday cards thrown in that had the... I got a whole set of cards that all of the responses on them were about semen. And those came up in 3 people's hands.
I think everybody's New Year was Cards Against Humanity, just
And-
judging from Facebook, and that's what I did too. It
And
was
Frivolo.
literally, yeah, it was Cards Against Humanity and alcohol. Like I think that's
Yep.
like how 90% of America ringed in the New Year because that's exactly where I went. What happened? It
I
was
made coffee vodka and chocolate vodka.
we literally did nothing but that game for 3 hours, and then by the time it was like. And it was like, oh shit, it's 11:58. Turn on the TV, put on the thing.
And don't forget Animal Crossing.
Oh no, I didn't bother with that.
I crossed those animals. They are quite cross. And Zelda and Pokemon. I'm playing Pokemon X, and so Dan's playing Y, and I'm still playing some Zelda. So
Gender appropriate.
well, but I wanted the whole reason I'm playing X is not because of any of the legendaries or anything. I want the damn Houndoom. I don't care. I want the evil dog. I want a Houndoom.
I don't know these Pokemons anymore.
It's
I need to play. I've been meaning to pick it up.
It's a dark dog. He looks like an angry Doberman. I love it. Thank you for the coffee, Rob.
Your coffee, madam.
I gotta go dress it up now, so it's Loki's turn.
What is that? There's a piece of plastic on the ground.
I think it's a piece of your table.
What are you talking about?
I'm not sure.
So yes, this week I played. I don't know what I really played other than one game in particular. Okay, so as I had promised on the show before, that I was like, okay, let's set that Minecraft server up finally. So I went to check because our friend Gally had actually allowed us access to his server, but apparently his server's gone. So I was like, well, crap, how much is it going to cost to actually run a server now? And thankfully, I found it for a very cheap amount, less than my Netflix subscription. So I went ahead and, bought a server or rented a server and imported our map back in there. And so our Minecraft server's up and running again.
Yay,
and,
thank you, Loki.
And that's what I was doing this week, is setting that up and messing around with that. And I even messed with some new plugins and stuff and had a NPC builder that I spawned last night, and he built Normandy for Dark Sakura.
Yay! Because
It is gigantic. You have to see it.
I need to
Fucking
log.
huge.
Did you reposted all the information again, right on the forums?
Yeah, it's on the forums. Everything's been updated, how to log back in there and stuff. And you just may need to re-download your client if you haven't played in a long time, because they have a new client now that updates within itself instead of having to re-download it each
Amazing.
time. And so if you haven't gotten that new one yet, you have to re-download that.
That's what
Yeah,
I
I
had to
do. I do. Well, on top of that, my old copy's gone anyway because I upgraded my computer and didn't copy over my Minecraft because I knew I could re-download it.
The new Minecraft has streaming integration too, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, because the last thing I remembered is that someone put a huge N7 in front of my underground bunker. Because I
think
have
that's
like
huge.
Yeah, wait
Yeah.
till you see what they fucking did to your house.
I'm gonna move into the Normandy.
I lit it up on the inside. Yes, you could very well move into the Normandy. It's
Woohoo.
very possible. It's see, because I don't follow Mass Effect that well, so it's the Normandy 2, I guess.
Yay!
Don't you have isn't there a map that they can access online that shows them like where all the landmarks are?
Yes, there's if you go, there's also a link to that, and you can actually. I don't have the landmarks marked yet because everything's brand new again.
Gotcha.
But you can track people on the map. I do that a lot, even
Yeah.
at work. And I'll talk to people while they're doing stuff.
Nice. Now, it is a whitelist server, so it causes people some aggravation because you have to wait a bit to get access to it. But if you just go to our forums at vognetwork.com and let Loki know in the official Minecraft thread that you want access to the server, he'll grant it for you. You just have to agree, not to be a dick and ruin people's things. But that just, like, you don't ruin people's things, but that doesn't mean people haven't decided to still do like weird shit. And I'll just say real quick, when I logged back in, and sorry to get into my week a little bit, but I played Minecraft for the first time in a long time, and I was like, okay, first things first, I should probably finish this stupid house. So I finished my house, and then I made a mistake. I was digging into underneath my house because I think I wanted to write my name in clay or something. And as I was digging, I was like, wait, what the hell? There's more brick under here. I didn't put any brick in here. Somebody built a copy of my house directly underneath my house.
That's great.
So I was like, what the fuck? And then I guess it turns out, I think it was Hitstun that did it. I might be blaming somebody, but I think he took responsibility.
Yeah.
So Hitstun said what he was hoping to do is to rig my front door so that when I go in, I would be transported to the copy of my house and be like, what the hell's going on? So that's about the limit of fucking with people that you can do in the server and not get in trouble, which I actually thought was pretty funny. But you know what? I showed him. I said, fine, I'm going to turn this into my basement sex dungeon. So I've built...
So that's where the dungeons have come from.
Yes. So I've
Complete
built...
with stripper pole?
I'm very limited by Minecraft's resources. In fact, it's not much of a
Just
sex
build a
dungeon.
fence straight up. There you go, stripper pole.
All I can really do is just have a really big bed so far, but that is the plan, is that the house that Hitstun built for me, I will make my sex dungeon. I'll show you.
Well, I need to, as I said in chat room, I need to have dead fish in my Normandy. There better be an aquarium with dead fish in it. Just saying.
All right. So anyway, sorry, Loki. I didn't mean to derail your segment, but go ahead.
No, that's it. And so I chopped down the size of our map and stuff because there's a lot of extra space, so they'd regenerate some new terrain. And I gotta say that new terrain is really fucking boring. So I don't know what Unfortunately, they changed the way that like their algorithm or whatever on how like stuff spawns and like how terrain's generated. There's some interesting stuff, but man, like. I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to get our map imported in there, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just see what our map looks like now with the same seed and stuff, and man, it was fucking terrible. It was just like swamps everywhere, just swamps for
so it's
as
Alabama.
far as you can see.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it's working now, and there's horses and stuff, and actually I may go through there and take out the monsters. Because right now I just have it as we still can do creative, but I have monsters walking around and stuff just for the hell of it.
They kind of annoy me.
Yeah,
well, I
so
like
it's
seeing
like, I don't know.
the random Slender Man showing up in my basement. It's
thought,
cool.
I thought at one point, maybe you can't do this financially or whatever, and that's fine. But I thought at one point we were going to have like a creative server and a survival server, or is that's? I thought you could
we
like
can still
them.
do that, but I don't know. There's not a lot of people playing right now.
Yeah.
I just stick it on creative for now.
All right, that's fine.
And
So if
what
we
I'm
get
going to do is build stuff into it, like the mob arena, and that way we have things to do.
Okay, that works. So if we get the participation there, then maybe we'll look at doing that. But for now, it's just the creative mode. But I've been having a lot of fun with creative mode. I didn't think I would, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. So it works.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so to piggyback on the rest of the Minecraft story, I have also played a ton of Minecraft this week, and Robert M. in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says, I don't know what house is Sky's. I saw Loki's throne room, the Zero Mega Man stuff, and the dungeon. I was at least aware enough not to lock myself in a cell. Here's the deal. Okay, so originally my first house was like right in the center of the map, and people...
You'll notice the giant snowman's next to it.
People really were fucking with me in that house. So I got really mad and I was like, fuck this. I'm packing my shit and leaving. So I bulldozed that house and I went really far south on the map, which at the time was really far south on the map, although it's not that far. So if you go south, you'll see a brick house eventually, and that's mine. But you can also tell now, one thing I did this week is I did that very cliche Minecraft thing where I built 8-bit sprites into Minecraft. So I now live on Black Mage Beach. So I live on top of this giant cliff that I had to clear out a huge mountain to get it. I live on top of this giant cliff, and on the backside of the cliff is a giant 8-bit Black Mage sprite. And what I did, because I had to do some tricky things with the water so that the whole thing wouldn't get, because stupid me was like, oh shit, the cliff's not big enough to build the entire sprite. So I had to kind of, so it's now Black Mage Beach. So I put all sand down there, and that's where I live now, is Black Mage Beach. So come say hi, but stop fucking with my house, or I'm gonna move somewhere where you won't find me. That's for sure. All right.
Oh, we'll find you.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. They'll build another nether portal right at my front door. When did this show up?
Well, hey, that's part of the network system we have to go around to each other's houses.
No, it is very cool. Like somebody spent a lot of time to make that, so I don't want to sound ungrateful. It's just I'm always like, damn, like.
Yeah, I think that was also Hitstun. He's been doing a lot of stuff.
Well, props for you, Hitstun, even if you were trying to mess with me. All right. Yeah.
For the record, the other thing that I did see was Minecraft on an Android tablet, and promptly saw Julian lining up about 10 blocks of TNT and blowing stuff up. So I learned that you can blow stuff up on the.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay, so other games I've played this week. I did play an extraordinary amount of Final Fantasy XIV, as I usually do. I finished the 2.1 patch story. And what I'm going to say might be a little bit spoilery, so plug your ears for 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. Okay, so I'm going to say something that's borderline spoilery. So I don't think it really is. Okay, plug your ears. I'm convinced more than ever that we're going to find out that this game is an Evil East Alliance game. And that's going to come out probably in the first expansion. There's too damn many clues that tie into, and there's a big one at the end of the 2.1 patch that ties into Final Fantasy Tactics. And I'm like, this is a freaking Evil East game. That's what the first expansion is going to be. I bet I'm putting my money on it. So we'll see. So, but I think that's really exciting. It's super cool if that's the case.
Well timed. 30 seconds just now.
All right, awesome. Okay, then I'll shut up and talk about something else. How about I'll talk about another game that takes like 30 seconds to play. Okay, I'm going to talk about Dive Kick. In Dive Kick, you do two things. You dive and you kick. There is literally two buttons for Dive Kick. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. So Xfer and I played a little bit of this. Brad from Pod Culture was kind enough to buy me the game when it was on the Steam sale and what have you. So thank you very much. He picked that up for me so we could screw around with that. And so Xfer and I were playing that the other night. Unfortunately, we were suffering a little bit of a lag. Like, it was really kind of laggy online. Now, to be fair, I was video streaming. Probably not the best thing for ping time, but I was a little bit like, this is kind of a bummer to play online. But when it worked, it was kind of silly fun. I think I described it on the stream as this. This is the type of game that is great for like conventions or anytime you get 20 people drunk in a room together and you just want to play this. Because obviously there's not a lot to it. Like, it's not like Ultra Street Fighter 4 Turbo.
Your
where you
barrier
have all
to
these
entry
moves.
is literally three buttons.
No,
one button,
no.
two button, both button.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. One button, two button, both buttons. You're right. Okay, so there's that. So I'm like, oh, no, Jason, there's only two buttons. And you set them at the very beginning of the game. And, yeah, 'cause, like, even to move backwards, if you hit the kick button without hitting dive first, then your character will hop backwards. And if you want to move forward, you have to just dive, kick. And then you hit both buttons to do special moves and all this stuff. So, yeah, it's silly, but it's fun. Some of the characters are a little crazy, but I guess that's part of the charm of the game. And yeah, some of the I had fun when it was just like the normal instead of like Ken and Ryu, you have dive and kick. And so those were the best matches where it was just dive versus kick. So we had fun with that. So,
yeah, the abilities and the movement differences of some of the characters, like whatever the psych ward patient dragon thing guy is.
Yeah, one of them teleports.
Really weird.
One of them like turns invisible when he dives, and that's good and bad. It's good because you're invisible, but it's bad because like he's invisible for everybody.
Yeah.
So
Loco Poco said in chat, they played a dive kick tournament at Evo.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I think this is like
I think
a huge
that's when it
thing now.
debuted.
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly. I'm not sure.
All right, so anyway, that was Dive Kick. I had fun with that. One other game I played this week that I'll talk about now is a game I think I talked about a year ago. And last week was our best of show, and I completely neglected to name this game, even though I remembered to say something on Horde House, but probably because Horde House is a show about online games. But silly me really should have put this game in my honorable mentions or even in the number 5 slot on last week's OLR, because I think I actually did name it number 5 on Horde House, but, minds can change. But for seriously, this is one of the best games that came out last year. Path of Exile. I played quite a bit of this past week. I hadn't played it in a while, and just randomly was like, oh, I should see what's going on here because it's on Steam and so on. So I loaded it up, and they're having like a contest right now. By the way, Path of Exile free to play, and it's like one of the best. Oh, you just loaded up the picture of your Normandy, didn't you? Stop derailing me, Darkseid.
Oh God, it's awesome.
Path of Exile. probably one of the best free-to-play things that's out on PC right now because it doesn't try to nickel and dime you to progress. You can do the whole story without paying for it. All the paying stuff is cosmetic, although if you want to do like guilds and get a bigger bank, they do try to charge you for that stuff. But I think it's very reasonable. You get a lot for nothing in this game. So I think if you like roguelikes or Diablo clones at all, you should try Path of Exile. You really have nothing to lose, and it's fun.
Well, you just said 2 magic words.
Did a roguelike?
Yep.
Yeah, well, think
Considering all my nominations.
Jason, what is Diablo at its core?
Well, I mean, Diablo.
It's a
Okay, no, good
roguelike.
point.
Yeah.
Good point. It has its 3D advantages, but it's very much a dungeon crawl, which is all those games are.
And it's exactly what Path of Exile is too, with an fucking insane talent tree that reminds me of the Final Fantasy X game board where you just could move anywhere. It was crazy. So
The Chrysanthemum, I don't remember.
Stellarium or something. Yeah,
That sounds right.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Path of Exile, great. Oh, so what I did this week, they have these regular tournaments. So right now they're having like a 1-week tournament to just, get as much experience as you can on this character in 1 week. But the game's on hardcore mode. And there's these other features too that I don't fully understand because I haven't played the game in a while, but something called Nemesis, which I don't know if that makes the enemy stronger or what, and something where the shrines can affect you or the enemy. But for me, I'm just like, it's hardcore, meaning if you die, game over, and you're done. So far my character's still alive and she's level 11. So for somebody who hasn't played in like a year and didn't really play that much to begin with, I'm very happy with my progress. So I'm going to see how far I get on that. So yeah. Love the soundtrack in Path of Exile as well. Tech 2030 in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says, not everything is a roguelike. Correct. Not everything is a roguelike. Mass Effect is not a roguelike. Final Fantasy is not a roguelike.
No.
No, but I do like roguelikes.
Honestly enough, though, you know what game I've kind of had this urge to play is Venture. I want to hook up my ColecoVision.
That is old school.
And
Is
play Venture.
Minecraft a roguelike? I guess not.
No.
It's a
Not
sandbox.
really. Yeah, it's more of a sandbox. All right. Okay, anyhow, let's that's enough about my gaming week. Oh, Jason, I don't want to miss you though. Jason, how was your gaming week?
My last week was incredibly lazy. I know I opened up a couple common things and played like literally less than 5 to 10 minutes of and just stopped. I don't know why.
That's okay because the news in gaming is the same way this week. So
Easy
fine.
week, catching up on sleep more than anything else, and a couple of legitimate days of work, but that's it. Last week was terribly unexciting.
All right, fair enough. All right, oh, excuse me. Let's get into some housekeeping real quick. I always plug the Twitter and the Facebook here, so twitter.com/OLR and facebook.com/Orange Lounge Radio. And we're also on Google+. If you'd like to prove to us that people are still using Google+, google.com/+ Orange Lounge Radio, all one word. Also, we're at youtube.com/Orange Lounge Radio, where Jason will post the Orange Lounge Radio Enhanced Edition. I don't know what else to call it. So it's the Orange Lounge Radio Enhanced Edition, typically about a week after the show airs. And, the first week was just nothing but the show on YouTube, but now you really have been enhancing it. So, Jason, tell us a little bit about, because you just posted last Sunday's show today. And it's great.
I finally got it up with upload and everything else like that. It was literally like 12:30 in the morning, local Pacific time, of course. But I want to start being able to actually feature some of this stuff visually. So the fortune cookie message of the week, podcast listeners, trying to see if there's something else we're going to do, but the show always ends with a fortune cookie message of the week that Jamie comes up with, and so I throw the video in the outro because it's just a way of sending you something fun to part the show with.
Yeah, it was always and the reason why that was instituted in the first was just explaining because the podcast listeners are like, I have no idea what this man is talking about. It's something we do live only because it's so weird to say, okay, well, we're gonna just hit disconnect now and dump all our listeners. So we always kind of just end with a little like a song or something. She does a lot of stand-up comedians and things like that. So
last week was Brental Floss, Super Mario 3D World with Lyrics. Christmas week was Night Santa. Christmas at Ground Zero, Weird Al Yankovic. And plenty of other fun random stuff to go with. But last week I put the visual representation of Listless in the video. When we were talking Mighty Number 9, Call's designs as one of us referenced Individual 1, put that on top. YouTube doesn't allow you to link to anything, so a creative solution is going to have to happen for figuring out how to give appropriate attribution to a lot of these articles and whatnot now. I would also like to extend a very special thank you to Dungeon Buster and Act Deft for giving me chapter timestamps for episode 532 and 533. So if you go to youtube.com/OrangeLoungeRadio, expand the description, and then you can hop straight to a chapter just by clicking the little timestamp in the description.
That part's awesome.
Wonderful. Incredibly helpful. That's what I wanted to do from the get-go, and it's time-consuming as all hell. So thank you so much, both of you, for doing that.
That's great. Thank you guys for doing that. And yeah, that's awesome because if you're just oh, I want to hear that list from last week again because I just remember Alan's answers were so bad because they were so mean. You could just go back.
You're just saying that because he's not here.
No, well, and I know he's listening and making a stank.
Hi, Alan.
Making a stank face at me right now as I say that. But no, for real, you can go click on the number there and it will actually take you right to that section. That's really cool. So thank you, Jason. Thank you to your helpers, Dungeon Buster and Act F, who all made that happen. That's great. Very cool.
I'd like to thank our team of AV techs.
I know, right? We have a whole team now. It's a team OLR. It's great.
But I would not like to thank Jesus.
Stop, Kathy Griffin. All right. Anyhow, so that's it for housekeeping, yes?
Sounds like it.
All right, then I think we are finally ready to start the news. Loki.
Sorry, I was fighting the cat off of me.
Oh, that's okay. I was like, uh-oh, Loki's AFK.
Kitty!
Yeah, she was trying to be in my face and stuff, and that just
that's what cats do.
Anyways, so this is, I guess, why we can't have good things, and that would be people exploiting stuff in the name of cheating, and this happened with, I guess, NES Remix. They had a time attack contest that was going on, and apparently people figured out, hey, we can exploit this by pausing and unpausing, the slow-mo and the original NES. Apparently, the gameplay would start before the timer would start. And so doing that, you'd be able to, finish a certain level or something with a very low time that wouldn't exactly be accurate. So because of that, they said, in the interest of being as fair as possible, we decided to terminate the event without recognizing the fastest time. We sincerely apologize for this matter, and particularly because the vast majority of people played fairly. So that's too bad.
Way to go, Bad Apples, ruining it for everybody. But at the same time, I mean, here's the thing. There's the thing that gets me. These games are supposed to go through this long quality process, which maybe NES Remix was a little more rushed. I kind of think it was.
Possibly.
So maybe it didn't go through some of that. But I always think the pause unpause trick was huge on the NES. So nobody thought to try that. And I mean, granted, maybe not so much in the games that are included. Like pause unpause was more of Gunsmoke. Was synonymous with that. That was the infamous game for that. So maybe they didn't think to try it in the games that they included, but I was just kind of I was just surprised that, but I mean, yes, I want to blame the Bad Apples, and they do take the blame, but you also kind of have to go, really? It's not like they hacked it. They just found a problem that you guys didn't find yourself that really anybody could use to get their times better.
Yeah, that's the really interesting part about this is that it's not malicious, technically. There is no falsifying information. This is a legitimate quirk of the game that people took advantage of. That's fucking amazing. We don't have awesome games in the show world, do we?
I don't think so.
Quick shout out to Awesome Games Done Quick that was taking charity for cancer. Yeah, for cancer research that was taking place over the course of today. And these people,
I think it's more than just today. It was yesterday and going on and on. Yeah.
These people, they don't break a game in a malicious sense. They know the game inside and out to actually take advantage of these little personality quirks and put it towards making the game doing better at the game than other people could with straight up skill.
That's 1,000 times different because those publishers are not currently running a contest for speedruns.
But even speedruns, though, a lot of times people will exploit glitches to go faster through games. If it's in the game and they're not actually hacking, I don't see a problem with it. Although I guess
there's not a problem with that. But the whole start stop thing, that's a problem because NES Remix is not programmed to really recognize that the way it should, which is a fault of the game's design. Mm-hmm. But then it's also a fault. That's why it's called an exploit, because they're exploiting that bug.
There are certainly numerous interpretations of the word exploit. I understand that it makes the contest difficult. You know, if you were to actually see people perform this live and one person's screen is just flickering uncontrollably because they're taking advantage of stuff, yeah, that sucks to watch. But that's not what's going on here. These people found something to make them better at this game. It's the freaking DDR bar argument all over again.
Look at our chat room at live.vognetwork.com. Tech2030 says, Nintendo lately. Some people are bad, so we're taking everything away from you. Oh, isn't that the truth? Hello, swap note.
I mean, obviously, a point I'm going to make, King of Kong, this harkens back to a time where games didn't phone home and they couldn't just have the results come back automatically and be sorted, tallied, everything else. But the fucking world record for Donkey Kong was 100% horseshit to begin with. And that's why, fuck me, I'm going to forget his name. I already forgot his name. Not Weeby. What was the other dude's name? Other Donkey Kong world record holder. Barbecue.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mitchell. Billy
you,
Mitchell.
Billy Mitchell. He, knowing what he knew of the game, his lawyer buddy, he knew that the score that was put forward in the world record was terrible. So he sat down and blew it out of the water. Thus begun the great Twin Galaxies
And the
Donkey
King of Kong.
race. Yeah.
Well, and now there's Hank Chien, too. Let's not forget.
Yeah, modern
the other
days.
guy.
But
yeah.
my point being is that, you know, the fact that this can be done and verified via mechanism in the game really sucks for the contest, because to put the time into figuring out this stuff, it shows how dedicated to the game these people are. And if there is no malintent, if there is no malicious, like, deliberate changing, it just sucks that people wouldn't be, you know, that they wouldn't be recognized for being able to pull this off, instead of just, oh, you didn't play the game the way we wanted you to play it, so everybody loses. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, but a pause-unpause thing isn't really part of the game itself. Like, it's kind of one thing, like, again, to talk about the awesome games done quickly,
it's
when
not a specialized controller. It
exploit
gives
Mario
them,
levels.
It
It's
gives
different.
them no advantage that is not already immediately
Right.
present to them.
Right.
So what's wrong with it?
When you're screwing with the timer when it's about time, I don't know. It's totally different to me, because, again, you have a current contest going on and somebody's bending the rules using a feature not everybody knows about. Whereas, you know, obviously
People don't know the fastest way to beat a game. That's what this competition is about.
Yeah, but if you were to let's say you watch a speed run through of NES Remix, and it's just the dude pause on pausing. Are you going to be really impressed by that? Or are you going to be like, no, this guy's just pause on pausing to get his time left? That's cheap.
And that was the very first point that I made, is that it does not make for good watching, but that's not what happened here. I agree with that point, 100%.
Right.
Absolutely.
But whereas the awesome games done quickly is great watching, because, like, people actually look at that and go, well, A, it's for charity. I'm not going to knock a charity event. B, a lot of people watch it and go, oh, sweet, I never knew I could do that in Mario. I'm going to try that myself.
So the first answer is that they curate the best looking, the games that come together well, that are the most attractive to watch. That said, I watched something from summer last year, possibly even 2012, where somebody speedran Super Meat Boy, and one of the tactics with Fly, the little line character that I'd never played his source game. One of the tactics was to use up your double jump, pause, unpause, and then get a third jump. Just once, not repeatedly, but it was a quirk of the game's engine that even blew away Team Meat that were on the phone at the time that it happened. And I believe it was Edmund. You could just hear him. He's just like, what? So it doesn't make for good watching. It's legitimate.
And the next week there was a patch.
Possibly. That is something else that we can have in this day and age. All right. That's that.
Loki.
Yeah, but Nintendo understands patches. I mean, come on. This is online we're talking about here. I mean,
all right. Is there any final word on this, Loki? This situation?
It's just disappointing that, it got exploited like it did, especially for a contest.
All right. Well, moving on, talking about something a little different. One of the games that came out right before the end of the year, over in Japan anyway, is Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy XIII, or as others have called it, Final Fantasy XIII-3. The game is not out here in the States yet, but it will be out in February, ? I think it's the end of February when we get it. Well, the game's out in Japan, and of course there's a lot of DLC, and I don't know if you guys have seen the DLC. Some of it is really ridiculous. Like, a lot of it is outfits for Lightning, and it's the type of shit she would never wear, but whatever. It is what it prints money, so they have it out there. Like, you can get like a Moogle dress and stuff too.
Good Lord.
One of the things, and I'm sure Dark Soccer is going to choke on this.
No.
You can actually dress her up as Aerith from
Can I
Final
stab her?
Fantasy VII.
With flowers.
With the flowers.
I'll stab
and
her with the
everything.
flowers. I can do that.
And no, you cannot play as Sephiroth. I'm sorry, Dark Sakura. Well, the only way to get this in Japan is to purchase the V-Jump strategy guide that Squareenix bundled the DLC with. But actually, that didn't happen that way. In theory, that's what was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be exclusive DLC, but oops, it didn't work that way. Because what happened is that the DLC was accidentally pushed out to the marketplace with everything else that came out, such as the Final Fantasy VII DLC for Cloud was supposed to be there. Being able to dress up like Yuna from Final Fantasy X was out there too. Another one of Jamie's favorite characters. You could actually dress the character up. That was DLC was supposed to be there, but Square was actually in breach of contract by putting the Aerith DLC out there.
Somebody's going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah,
Way
so
more than what they're going to make on this DLC.
The DLC was yanked on December 20th. An apology tweet went out saying, sorry, we had to pull this because the strategy guide, and they had to apologize to the makers of the strategy guide too. They did note that Cloud and Yuna would return, because I guess they pulled everything, and then Cloud and Yuna outfits returned, but they did not say anything about the Aerith costume, so yikes. But, at the same time, mistakes happen. Like, I can think of games have accidentally been set for free. Like, didn't that happen with Fable 3 at one point? I mean, I know they gave that away eventually for the Games for Gold thing, but at one point, didn't they give away all of Fable 3 online accidentally for free?
Yeah, I believe so.
It was 2 or 3, one of them. They gave it away online. These things happen. Steam sale. Don't Starve and Borderlands 2 both had the wrong price at one point, and people were getting them dirt cheap. So
yeah, I may have done that.
Yeah, exactly. So these types of things happen, but it does kind of, I mean, when it's the game being priced that way, I kind of look at it and go, okay, that really sucks for the makers of that game, because that's kind of essentially money out of their pockets or whatever. With this, when I look at it and it's DLC, like especially cosmetic silly DLC, which is what this is, it's a little harder for me to go, oh, this poor strategy guide company. I'm just like, this is stupid.
Why are we giving strategy guide companies exclusive DLC? I mean, I guess that's to sell strategy guides, but I know they did that with like Saints Row, and it was terrible DLC. Like the one for Saints Row 4 is just some gun skins, and that's it.
Yeah,
it's really just more of an incentive for people who like to collect all this stuff and to buy the strategy guide. I mean, really, that's the incentive. And I mean, I have a friend that works for one of the strategy guide companies, and he's like, yeah, they pay all this money to get these exclusives and to get these type of things to go out. So
I guess the hardcore fans of the game. I mean, a Final Fantasy VII Aerith costume, Jamie might not be Aerith's biggest fan, but there's a lot of people that would want to, grab that. But it's just a costume.
Hey, well, since that Square Enix is, basically running IDOS now, maybe we can get an Aerith skin for Tomb Raider, like the original one, so she can keep throwing her off a cliff.
One can only hope, I guess. Be careful what you wish for, because there is that Tomb Raider. I forget the name of it, but the PlayStation 4 version, which by the way is another reason I bought the PS4 because I want to get that
Legendary Ultimate.
Yeah, Legendary
Definitive.
Ultimate, whatever. She's got new hair edition.
Definitive edition.
Thank you. I'm gonna call it the Tomb Raider. She got new hair edition.
she got her hairs did.
She got her hair done edition, and maybe be careful what you wish for. There might be some of that DLC or something. That would be so silly, but I love the idea of Dark Sakura getting Aerith DLC for that game for Tomb Raider, just so she can keep killing her in mysterious ways.
No. You know that I still have
I know.
my very first memory card with my save file at the Genova fight because, first of all, the Genova fight's freaking awesome. And second, I get to see the bitch die. I cheer every time. It just makes my heart warm. So how about some other news? Dave Roberts, who is the CEO of PopCap, is retiring on the 8th. And the one replacing him is John Vecchi, V-E-C-H-Y, Vecchi, I don't know, who's basically going to be taking over. And as we know, PopCap is a division of EA now. Ooh. So, yeah, he's also leaving around the same time as Jason Kapalka, and they're like, bye, we're done. I mean, I'm sure they've earned their retirement, yeah. But if I worked for EA, I'd want to retire too.
You still have to, and that's the whole thing. You still have to wonder, because this is a very odd trend we see, is that didn't the same thing happen with BioWare? Those guys left, right? Now we see the PopCap guys left. It's just...
What if they started their own company called BioCap?
Plus, I mean...
Popware?
What has PopCap been doing? I mean, I remember they used to crank
2.
out
Plants
the games.
vs. Zombies 2.
Yeah, I know. There's Plants vs. Zombies 2. There's the
Peggle 2.
There's the Garden Warfare, and then there's Peggle 2, right? But that was kind of all they did this past year.
Licensed all of the Bejeweled offshoots on various platforms.
I mean,
you could even
Facebook
play...
games.
For a while, you could play Bejeweled and Peggle on WoW.
I miss their website.
And the Plants vs. Zombies level in WoW. That was fun, too.
I realize the website's still there, but it's probably not the same. I haven't checked. Admittedly, I haven't checked it out in a while. But I used to like to go to popcap.com and just like play all their little free games that were in the Flash, because they had some funny stuff in there. There's a lot of like games that people don't really talk about, like Big Money was one of them, and sometimes they'd have like these little gem games in there, but I don't know if that's just kind of not what they're about anymore.
I don't know. I stopped playing Bejeweled because of Doctor Who.
Were those games continuing to be made and published even after they were under EA?
Oh, I'm sure if it'll make money, I'm sure. The iPhone store has a lot of those.
No,
games.
I mean on their website specifically, and little freebies like that. Did those continue to be produced and come out?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't looked, but they're probably all Facebook games, if nothing else. That's probably where
they need to be.
Is.
They need to be able to track it and prove that it's worthy. Mm-hmm. They can't rely on feeling and intuition. It has to have metrics. Yeah,
I rely on feeling and intuition. All the time.
Previously, the freebie Flash games were just essentially demos. They were episode 1 demos of, for $15.95, you can get the full version that has extra puzzle levels and full...
They did the Peggle thing on Steam, the Peggle Extreme, that was basically just crossover with Valve games. Like the Portal level was really fun.
And they had the Warcraft plugin one, too. It was awesome.
That's what I talked about earlier. Because I used to just sit and, waiting for the pug or whatever, and because I was always DPS, and play Peggle for an hour until I finally got picked up.
All right, well, I think we should probably go over to Loki's story, because, right, Loki?
Yes, speaking of people leaving, Criterion, the two co-founders of that studio have now left to form yet another studio. And Criterion, you may remember them for the wonderful, awesome racing games Burnout and some of the more recent Need for Speed games. But yes, so now they are going to form a brand new company, and it doesn't really say what they're naming it yet. Maybe they're going to join the PopCap guys. That'd be pretty cool. But they're saying news breaks along with Fiona Sperry at I Have Left Criterion Games. Welcome to the real future. So, whatever that means. But I guess, they're going to form their own company or something.
The Futures.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We'll just add that to the list.
So it's going to be Criteria Popware?
Crit Pop.
Crit Pop.
You never know. Let's see. I'm looking. Okay, so here's the thing. I went to popcap.com just because I was curious, and the first thing you see is kind of like an ad for all the stuff on iPhone, and then you go to more games, and it shows you more games.
Bookworm Adventures!
Yeah, like, in Sanaquarium, that game was the shit. I love that game. They even have like an arcade version of that, right? Okay, but you can learn more PC download, and then all the way at the bottom, online games, little tiny link that leads you to online games, and I think, yes, this is where you can play. Okay, then it's like, here's the
Zuma's Revenge.
Here's the featured games, and then you go to all games. So 4 clicks later, finally,
And they still have their most popular games on top.
I think, do I just hit learn more and I can play in Sanaquarium?
Download free.
Okay, but it's not play in the browser like it used to be.
No.
So yeah, they've definitely changed the site a little bit. That's too bad.
Because EA likes to fuck it all up.
Certain personalities just don't, you reach a point where your company changes. You either turn into EA or you join them, and then you get to the point where you want to start all over again, because in a big corporation you're limited in what you can do. So
well,
they
also
go
I
find their
think
freedom again.
kind of the direction that EA is going with a lot of their games is definitely focused on monetization, and maybe that's not necessarily something that these guys want to deal with.
Perhaps.
I understand that the point of a corporation is to make money, but what happens to, the only reason I think that we have such a big indie community now is, first of all, the technology is easier to come across, and second of all, that we have more people who are willing to make games that people will like just for the love of it, and I think that a lot of people are being driven more towards the indie game scene rather than going for these big, publications.
Fair enough. All right, well, I think we're going to shift gears here a little bit with our next story, right, Jason?
Yeah, so as perhaps a small little addition to us reporting last week about various network services, online services, having outages during the holidays, which was due in large part to an influx of gamers, but there was another interesting story that happened in the last couple of days, that a Twitch and YouTube streamer by the name of Phantom Lord caused a humongous stir, wound up apparently making the record for the most watched live stream on Twitch at any single time. The numbers were up over 140,000 consecutive people, something along these lines. And basically what it boils down to is that he's a League of Legends player, League of Legends, Dota, invariably various other games that was touched on in the incident. But basically what happened, and this is his livelihood, this is how he makes money. So live stream, ads, monetization, Twitch subscriptions. He was doing what he normally does and starts playing Dota. When I first read this article, basically the gist of what happened was that whether by monetization or some other reason, he started becoming the target of an attack by DDoS griefers, essentially. Apparently this is being attributed largely to a collective known as DERP. And the way that I heard the story when this happened last week is that Phantom Lord was going about his routine, playing Dota, playing League of Legends, playing Dota, playing whatever else he wanted to, and this collective indeterminate number of people was watching what he was playing, watching what he was streaming, and would target that game, that network, bring it down. So much so that it happened with a game. So, it'll happen to the big individuals, League of Legends, Dota 2 again, but also affect smaller, something I'd never even heard of before, Disney, for crying out loud, Disney's Club Penguin. That's what it was. I knew I had to bring it up. I've never heard of this before.
I only know because they sell the little shit things in the Disney
are
stores.
shit.
It is,
I love penguins.
It's just like a little social network, like Second Lifestyle social
network. It's a Facebook game for kids.
Okay.
It's Disney.
So, but that was brought down too. So the culmination of this result was that Phantom Lord's stream went. He changed it to a static image instead of webcam based, and basically just disappeared until the stream wound up being taken down. And the claim was that a police raid happened on his house. He was the target of a police raid as a hoax, meaning that individuals called the local police for him. His address got leaked out on the internet, and then people phoned in a hostage situation to police, and then, damn near SWAT team, but just the serious guns of police came to his house, put him in handcuffs. They stopped short of arresting him because there was nothing going on, but the claim was that his house was searched, he was in handcuffs, placed in the back of a squad car, being interviewed by individuals, rifles, guns drawn, pointed at him, the works. That was a couple days ago, and I watched. Phantom Lord posted an hour-long explanation of the day's events. Apparently, there's been like 30, 40 pizzas that have showed up at his house, and the normal nonsense that happens whenever a high-value target appears.
Which, by the way, this whole act of swatting or whatever is illegal in California now.
Yeah,
and it was a huge thing because people were doing it to like Tom Cruise and Miley Cyrus and all the Hollywood people, right? So I don't know where this particular individual lives, but if that had been in California where the guy lives, that would have been illegal to call. Or actually, if the phoner was in California, that person could go to jail for that. I mean, that's how serious it is, and it needs to be.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That people should not fuck around with things like that. Like it's one thing to take down an online service, which I also don't agree with because you're ruining the fun for everybody else or what have you. If you have a squabble, you work it out intellectually or whatever. You have a discussion, a debate. You don't. This is just going to bad places, but calling the cops on somebody that could like screw somebody's life up.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Especially too, like there's this picture that's just posted in chat. I mean, there's some scared looking people there. On top of that too, you're also decreasing manpower from legitimate crimes going on.
Yes, that's one of the awful things too. So, I mean, the punishment needs to be swift and severe for this type of fuckery. So anyway,
just to expand, the colloquial term, if somebody was swatted or swatting someone, means that you phone in a hoax to the police and get a SWAT level response enacted on an individual home address at just an individual's that their location, their whereabouts. I watched the video an hour long. I read this article. As it turns out, this was likely not a blatant I don't think that this whole attack was fabricated just for money, but it wound up working out in Phantom Lord's favor because as reported by various outlets, Phantom Lord agreed. He was having a private conversation with the individual or individuals that are the collective derp, and he said that if my team starts losing, you can start taking down. You can take down the server so that we don't get a registered loss. They start out the round. The Phantom Lord's team is doing okay. They start losing. The attack begins. My understanding, my assumption is that Derp just said, "Oh, we can take him down. Let's continue to do that." Raising the ante. So not only do they take down the one game he's playing, but they continue to do so across multiple networks. The controversy that's happening is that Phantom Lord, because of the influx of users, he enabled subscriber-only mode in chat, which means if you are going to chat with him on Twitch, you have to pay $5 to do it. And he raked in 6 figures and like another 5 figures of monetization on YouTube with ads.
So the whole thing could have just been an elaborate hoax to make fleece money?
I don't think it was what's the right
premeditated?
word here? I do not believe it was premeditated. And there's a lot of fault to go around. People are even blaming Twitch for not taking down his stream as soon as the influx was just affecting 5 or 6 networks outright.
It does bring up an interesting point. At what point does Twitch need to be like, this stream is not about gaming at this point, and pull the plug? Well, because in some regards,
it is.
I think that is an element to blame.
The argument is that how could Twitch possibly watch as much live content as on their network, but they can certainly pay attention to the most important, because that's where this scale of attack tends to happen.
If this is the largest stream that has ever happened on Twitch, somebody saw it.
Yes. And apparently he also broke rules that he continued to show ads on the entirety of the stream, even to subscribers that aren't supposed to get it. So there are a number of legalities that are happening here as well. But it was swatting is not a new thing. It's not a gaming thing. I've heard it happen to pundits and other prominent tech individuals. At least a year or so now is when I first kind of heard of it.
Yeah, but it's not a fucking joke either, and that's something
when police come to your house, it's never.
Well,
a
no,
joke.
and I'm talking like the coward making the call.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking joke for them to be doing it either, because just like Jamie said a minute ago, you're taking them away from real issues, and the person making that call is going to get in a lot of trouble. Because, if I were the guy, I'd sue him. But,
it's the
America.
It's the internet equivalent of a bomb threat, and we've all been
Slander.
high school and have dealt with those numerous times.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But it's not a joke.
Yeah, it is not, by all means.
There's the I'm older than you, because for me it was pulling the fire alarm. Somebody would always pull the fire alarm.
Oh, we had those too. I just my high school, the first week of school. What's the short version of the story? There was a bomb threat at 1:00 in the afternoon. We didn't leave the school grounds until 5.
You know what they started doing, though, is that they built paint sprayers into those things, so that when you pulled the thing, it would spray you with paint, and they would know who pulled it.
Like die exploding money bags that are persistent for a fair amount of time to find the culprit.
Yep. All right. Well,
Fun.
I know, right? Let's shift the topic a little bit and talk about some upcoming games.
I am so excited about Cuphead. Oh my god, this is great. Cuphead is a run and gun video game that's being done by Studio MDHR that is it's sort of set like a one-on-one fighting game, but with different levels as you progress through it, and there's definitely some kind of I guess it is a run and gun element, but it made me think a lot of Mega Man 2 with just how the main character is going. The big thing about this, though, is the aesthetics to the game. It's based off of the old 1930s cartoons. So it even seems to have this degree of older film grain on it. And the characters look like they are straight out of, early Disney and early Merry Melodies,
or
pre-World War II era cartoons.
One of the movies in the BioShock Infinite viewer things that you can look at.
But I mean, even the Captain Silver thing sort of makes me think of the early Betty Boop and what was the other one? Popeye. They used to watch, But it's really neat, and I hope that the music in the trailers is some of the music that's definitely in the game, because I really like just the overall feel that it gives. I'm super excited by this. I mean, I'm probably more excited about this than just about anything coming out. Also, the other character, if you play in co-op, is called Mugman. So you have Cuphead and Mugman. It's so adorable. It's super adorbs. And it's supposed to be out on PC for PC first, then Mac and Linux, and then consoles. I want this game.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I want to check this out too. I just love the visual aesthetic behind it. What a great idea for a game.
This is so cute.
Right.
I just want a shirt with Cupman on it. Or I want like a cup hat.
Loco Poco in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says Skullgirls had a character named Peacock that had the same aesthetic.
Peacock is kind of creepy looking. And honestly, I think a lot of Skullgirls, I would want to put more in the 40s and up, sort of that noir period, because the music is some of that same type of jazz big band style, and definitely the scenery, harkens back to some of the film noir. So,
all right.
I don't know that it's related to Skullgirls. The styles are completely different.
All right, well, let's travel around the world and check out some release dates and some games that are coming out very soon, although I have a feeling this week is pretty dry, but we'll check in anyway with Loki with the U.S.
Well, if you don't own a Wii Fit balance board, now you can, as part of the WiiU, or Wii Fit U disc versions that are coming out. They have one that's just the disc game and the balance board, and one that is I believe just the game and the pedometer. Well, the one at the balance board, of course, has the pedometer in it as well. So you could, if you don't want to download it digitally, you can pick it up this way.
All right.
And technically not a game, but some more Disney Infinity figures are coming out this week. Wreck-It Ralph, Vanellope, and Rapunzel.
Well, those are all good characters. That's cool. Wreck-It Ralph doesn't have their own stage or anything, though, right?
No, he's just... See, they've kind of gotten lazy with some of these. Like, they don't have any more playsets coming out, so all they have is just these toy box characters.
Okay.
And they're going to have these toy box sets coming out later on, but it's basically just the 2 characters and then, like, a background and, like, a skin for the toy box mode. It's kind of... I don't know.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, is that it for the U.S.?
That's it.
Then we'll move to Japan, where there is one game out this week. We don't really get back into a regular release schedule till next week, but there is one game out this week on January 11th, and if you're act deft, you'll care about this game, because on the Nintendo 3DS, Hoshi no Kirby Triple Deluxe comes out this week in Japan. Yes, that is the Kirby 3DS game. Makes its way to Japan this week. That's the only release on the 11th. So it's a bummer the 3DS isn't region free, or ActF could import that, but you'll just have to wait.
Oh, well.
Unless you happen to have a Japanese 3DS, then check that out. How about the
Time
UK?
to import.
How about the UK, Dark Sakura?
Only one game on the 9th, and that's Metal Gear Solid Rising for PC. So, no.
All right. All right, just a few more stories for you guys before we get to the classic game of the week. Loki.
So Fallout, and this is kind of ironic, Fallout 2 and Fallout Tactics have been removed from Good Old Games, or GOG.com. This is basically in regards to the expiration of Interplay's franchise rights as of the 1st of this year. And because of this, now I believe Bethesda is going to be the new owner of that. And I actually have this from GOG because they were giving it away.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a giveaway at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was free. So I was like, free.
Now we know why they gave it away.
They knew it was coming. So they gave it away. And this, of course, is also going to kind of lead into Bethesda trying to get these games onto Steam, which, I'm sure they're going to be able to do that. So, not sure when though, but they're going to probably have it up at some point.
So the games are going to end up on Steam.
I think so, yeah. They basically said no, they'll have a look at other options once they've taken care of the Steam section, Steam portion, but they may have it on other services as well.
Well, especially if the rumors are true that we're getting a new Fallout this year, and that's going to be a big E3 reveal from Bethesda. There's a new Fallout game.
It was in listless. It must be true.
I just think logically, Elder Scrolls was the last game, so the Fallout will, they'll go back to that series unless they're going to do something new.
Not to mention they finally own it and have full control of it.
That's true. That's true. So it would make sense to have the old games out there and available for people to catch up. Well, one thing you won't be able to catch up on are some other games that got removed from Steam. This is interesting. Usually we wouldn't talk about every game that gets delisted from a service, but A, it's a slow news week. B, the caliber of what we're talking about here is pretty big. Activision actually removed some Marvel licensed games from various digital storefronts, obviously Steam being the most notable, including Deadpool, which has only been out for 6 months. But it has now been delisted from Steam, which is interesting because it came just a day or two after the game had been on sale as part of the holiday sales, so that was very interesting. Other games removed: Spider-Man games, including Edge of Time, Shattered Dimensions, Friend or Foe, X-Men games, Destiny, Origins Wolverine, and the official game. Apparently don't know the real reason why these games were delisted from Steam, Xbox Live, and PlayStation Network. But The Amazing Spider-Man still there on all the storefronts, and Activision still has the rights to do The Amazing Spider-Man 2. No reason was given by community manager Dan Amrich, who actually confirmed the removal of the games. Didn't talk about why. Some people are thinking it has to do with the whole Disney Marvel deal going on there, that something's going to happen there. The expiration of the licensing agreement between the two companies being cited is probably what happened. Disney is going to move towards self-producing and publishing their own games for these franchises in the coming years.
I don't think that they are. Actually, I think that at least it was with Star Wars that they were only getting franchises stuff. I don't think that they're developing anything in-house.
I'm trying to remember back to the stories to remember. I seem to think that, well, think of it this way too. They're probably going to sell it to a lower bidder. You know what I mean?
Or a higher bidder?
Or, yeah, I guess it would be, a higher bidder. You know, they're going to make the most money possible is what I'm saying. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't with Activision. Maybe a studio that Disney maybe has a stake in would be a better thought. But
Or
we'll see.
maybe, maybe it's kind of for, the better, because a lot of these games at Activision, especially their licensed games, are kind of shit. So, it's probably a good thing that they kind of try to wipe these out of, the digital marketplaces as best they can, get some fresher games in there that might not be so terrible.
All right. Let's we'll see what comes. This E3 is going to be a big one to see what types of announcements, because if there's a new Star Wars game coming, we'll see it by 2015, because you're going to have the movie coming out, and they've got to get it out by then. Anyway, let's travel back in time to a time when games were a little more simple. It's the classic game of the week. Back when Star Wars were vector games, take it or leave it. And you took it.
Back when you had
They were
regular
awesome.
panty shots in video games.
What?
That's what this game is all about.
Oh, that's what I'm like. Dark Sakura, you're going a little crazy today. All right, it is the classic game of the week. Dark Sakura, what is this week's classic game of the week, which apparently involves panty shots?
Wonder Momo. So, again, I'm going through my list of Namco games that are included in have characters involved in Namco High. Amazonia from this is included in Namco High. So, this game only came out in Japan. I have actually played it, though. It came out in 1987, and it was a beat-em-up arcade game. This is supposed to be kind of a parody of the Ultraman-type games. Basically, you play as a girl named Momo, who is, instead of, actually playing her as a superhero in the world, she's on a stage, like she's performing for people. And she's at the Namco Theater, and so she's an actress who's playing the role of Momo, or Wonder Momo. And it has a digitized voice in it, and it's basically just a fun little, beat 'em up. It came out, like I said, in 1987. It also came out on PC Engine in 1989, and on the Wii Virtual Console. Both the arcade version and the PC Engine version came out in 2007, and 2009 was the arcade one. So going back, though, to the gameplay itself, she can only kick, and then she builds up her Wonder Meter, and then has a Cyclone animation, and then can attack with the Wonder Hoop, which she can use as long as she's Wonder Momo. And, but when she throws the hoop, she has to wait for it to bounce back to her sort of Captain America-like. And then she has, energy beams and, kind of the Ultraman thing. And then she has an attack called the Winter Typhoon that's a big energy wave. It also has some fan service. When she jumps, you can see her underwear. And she has to dodge a photographer in the audience who's trying to get a peek up her skirt. And if he gets a peek up her skirt, she's stunned or embarrassed. So, and then, of course, one of the images that's on the curtain at the beginning of the game is Momo wearing a towel. So, like I said, there were other versions. There was a PC Engine version, which is actually the first version that I played, and I have played an arcade version too. It came out. The Virtual Console version came out on the PC Engine version came out on Virtual Console in 2007, and like I said, the arcade one followed in 2009. And this
What the? She just did like the splits or something. It was very awkward.
when she jumps,
What the hell is this game? No, she did
No.
something on the ground.
Oh
where
yeah,
I think it was when
that's
she
her
got
turning
hit.
into Wonder Momo.
There we go. It's a very
So-
strange game.
Well, it is a weird game. The other thing too is that she's had other appearances. She was in Namco Cross Capcom, partnered with Bravo Man. She was on a card in Baten Kaitos. She was in Tales of the Abyss as a doll. And thank you for posting the picture in chat. The picture in chat is the PC Engine version. She is on a float in Marvel Land, and her Wonder costume is in Tales of the World Radiant Mythology 2 and in The Idolmaster. There's actually an album done by a J-pop singer named Haruko Momoi, who did a Wonder Momo new recording, basically based off of Wonder Momo. There's also a gachapon figure of Momo that you can find for the Namco Girls collection. And her final appearance, if you're not counting, well, I mean, of the character Wonder Momo herself, is in a Queen's Gate Spiral Chaos. However, another character, like I said, is in her rival is in Namco High, which is Amazonia. So there you go.
All right, there it is. I'm just entranced by watching this gameplay. She just kicked a velociraptor in the face in the video.
The other thing too is that more of this actually went into sort of a bit of a post Namco apocrypha from Shifty Look, who does an online web strip called Wonder Momo Battle Idol that brings back basically Momoko, who gets the Wonder Momo power, and that's where Amazonia came from. So
it is so weird to see this 80s 90s anime manga style, just because like I don't watch too terribly much, but all the old classic series that everybody knows from TV that actually made it to America or showed up in video stores, and then just the change of what it's been ever since 2008 forward. Playing these old games, it hits you real hard. It's a very definitive style, and seeing it again is always fun.
You know, I still have to go in and play some of those really quirky games from the late 80s, or the mid to late 80s. Like, God, I just had it in my head. Psycho Soldier, which I've done as classic game before.
I don't think it's an anime, but Blues Journey makes me think of similar art styles, but more like bumpy 3D special stuff.
Well, it was just that whole level of 80s anime style where it was really into the big eyes and that whole aesthetic. I mean, look at Ranma. Inuyasha follows the same aesthetic. You know, Dirty Pair, old Dirty Pair. I love Dirty Pair. That's like one of my favorites.
Bubblegum Crisis.
Bubblegum Crisis. Dominion Tank Police. That was more 90s, wasn't it?
Right. Interstellar, funny crossover, and
but that was the Matsumoto Studio.
What was the old one that sci-fi? Oh, Lotus War. Record of Lotus War.
Record of Lotus War. Do you know that actually started based off of a tabletop game?
Did not.
Which I would love to find the original game.
All right, so I believe that's it. Your classic game of the week,
classic anime of the week.
The very strange but somewhat charming.
It's a fun little game.
Wonder Momo.
It's.
She needs to buy a Wonder Mumu with all those photographers trying to.
I just think it's fun having the sort of limited stage, literally the stage, and then having to interact with the audience watching you. You know, even if it's the crappy photographer.
All right. I'm going to close that up.
It's just a funky little game.
All right. All right. Well, when we come back, there is plenty more Orange Lounge Radio, including the Fugle question of the week, rapid fire news, and your emails, FUs of the week, Twitter topics, your calls, hopefully tonight. We didn't get a lot of calls last week, but we're thinking now that people are getting back from their holiday breaks and so forth, we might hear from more of you tonight. So be ready for that at Orange Lounge Radio on Skype or 1-877-GAME-OLR. But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of Orange Lounge Radio right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio. We are live, of course, with episode 534 already in progress for this January the 5th, 2014, the second half of our episode. If you missed the first half, well, the good news is on the podcast, you can just hit rewind and listen all over again. But if you're live, you'll have to check that out on the feed a little later this week. We still have some fun stuff coming up, including your calls, the Fugle question of the week, and mailbag and all that stuff. But first, some rapid fire news. Loki joining us via Skype. You there?
Yes, I am here.
All right, take it away.
All right. So let's talk real quickly about a game that I don't think they've really talked about in a while, since like E3, maybe 2012. The Devil's Third, which was a game that was going to be put out by Itagaki. and it's in progress still. Originally, it was going to be published by THQ. Now that's changed, of course, and still on its way. I guess it's going to be coming out this year. So that's pretty cool. Not sure what type of game it is, but probably good breast physics will be involved in there somehow.
Without a
Alrighty
doubt.
Huh?
Without a doubt.
Yes, it is. It is a trademark. Next, there is a brand new game coming out on Xbox Live Indie Games from Ska Studios. You may remember them from such games as I Made a Game with Zombies in It. And this is kind of a follow-up. It's called Time Viking and ANDSPACERAPTOR. And it's ridiculous. Much like I Made a Game with Zombies in It. Yeah, and it has an awesome song. Which obviously I can't play, but it's pretty sweet. So check it out. And actually, it's only 80 Microsoft. Oh, I'm sorry, not Microsoft points. $1. So can't beat that price. And last but not least, I'm not sure if this is just to get more people to try it out, or to get those people that are like, hey, you know what? I really do like Jago. Now. The free character, instead of being Jago, is going to be Sabrewulf in Killer Instinct for the Xbox One. If you would like to play as Jago now, you have to pay $5 to unlock him. So I guess it's cool that they're kind of rotating that stuff around, but at the same time, I kind of feel that this is maybe a way to get those people that weren't paying money because their favorite character happens to be, one particular character that they're offering for free. Now they try to get them to pony up $5 for it. Or to buy the full game.
Well, to be fair, a game like League of Legends rotates through various characters too. So, I mean, it wouldn't be out of character for a game to offer a handful of their characters for free, if that makes any sense.
I guess it does.
It's an interesting consideration for people that may have had a slightly late start to get into that game. They're just getting used to Jago, and now they literally have to relearn the game. They literally have to relearn a character, and if they don't pay, they have no other choice.
Loco Poco in chat says Spinal gets released this month also. It's kind of weird to me how they trickle out the fighters in these games now. And I realize it's not like Killer Instinct's the first to do it. Like even Mortal Kombat had their DLC characters. But at least in Mortal Kombat, you had 30 characters in the game already. Whereas Killer Instinct didn't really have a lot. It's weird to me the way this game works.
I guess.
But you know what? I haven't really played it myself. I know a lot of people I talk to and follow on Twitter seem really into it. Some people have said it sold the system for them, so I can't hate. It's just weird.
So now is Spinal included with the full game price, or is that something that they're making you buy?
My assumption is
to the game?
It's part of the Season 1 subscription or whatever.
Season 1.
Yeah, right.
Oh, boy.
All right, well, let's move on with some more news, some other rapid-fire news here. Now, if you heard Bobby's show tonight, he talked a lot about the Oculus Rift, and there's this Tumblr post. It's a slow news week when we're getting news off Tumblr. But there's this Tumblr post going around, which is really based off of YouTube, I think, where somebody is playing Metroid Prime, apparently they got working with the Oculus Rift. Now, I seem to recall when I played Oculus Rift at Dragon Con, Bobby had a copy of F-Zero, or F-Zero GX, the GameCube version running on Oculus Prime, which was a lot of fun to play. So this isn't too much different than that, but that's still really cool that somebody's kind of running a game that I think a lot of us would want to play on Oculus Rift, Metroid Prime. So that's very cool. There's a video floating around out there. Of course, you can't really get the full experience. You can just kind of see what you would see through both eyes. But I will tell you this, having played the GameCube on Oculus Rift, it's like the TV is like right in front of your face, and looking around is more like looking around that giant TV. And so it creates a good sensation in racing games like F-Zero and so forth. And I guess it would kind of be neat in Metroid Prime, but I mean, when the game isn't natively built for an experience like Oculus Rift, it's really going to be losing a lot.
It still has some benefits because it still shifts your focus so that some other portion of the screen is primarily what you're looking at instead of just being peripheral, but it's not going to be Team Fortress 2, A for the awesome, all this kind of stuff where you look to the left and you can see completely original, landscape for as far as you can actually turn your head.
So here's something really funny is that apparently, because I tweeted to Bobby that this was going to be on our show tonight, well, apparently the guest on his show knew the guy that was on that Tumblr, and so this is the funny way that Twitter works. So he's just the guy that's in those Tumblr pictures here, Cymatic Bruce, just tweeted at us and Bobby and Reverend Kyle, who was on Bobby's show tonight, "Oh Lord, I've been Tumblered."
Tumbled.
Tumbled.
You know what? If you want to get very meta, Dark Soccer, you should screen cap that and Tumblr it again.
Link me. I'll do it. I'll do this shit. I'll have to do it when I get home.
Tumblrception. Bong. All right. Where are you in chat? Where are you? Why can't I see you in chat?
Chat. Optio.
Oh, you're not an op. You're not an op for some reason. That's
really weird.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Anyway, all that aside, let's move on with some other rapid fire news. ToeJam Earl 3. I seem to remember talking about this before. ToeJam Earl 3. It didn't finish. It was supposed to be on the beta, but it didn't finish. But I think what happened here is that somebody actually got this on eBay and was able to get this available now for public download. So it is emulation, technically piracy, but the game never came out, so you know what? It's there. They did do a version on Xbox, but ToeJam Earl 3 was originally supposed to be a Dreamcast game, and this game never got finished for it. So I guess you see relics of the Xbox version in this, but obviously this is kind of a unique experience here. So getting a Dreamcast development kit from eBay, the kit actually had a playable beta of ToeJam Earl 3 on it, so the guy did the right thing and put it on the internet for all of us to play.
The article you're thinking of is that he was considering some kind of a fundraiser to either continue development or to what extent it was going to be released. Probably for the better that it looks like it was just straight up released and made essentially public domain, even though it takes a very specialized system to be able to actually play it.
There you go. And then also rapid fire news tonight, and again, it's a slow news week because I'm just going to keep it real here. What the fuck kind of news is this? But it's it's going around the internet. So I admittedly say what I'm about to report on is really stupid, but since it's what people are talking about, I'm going to bring it to the table. There's a rumor going around that an unannounced third-party game is apparently being developed for Wii U. The project will launch in 2014 exclusively on the Wii U, and this is coming from a French gaming website called Gameblog. And it's supposed to be similar to Bayonetta 2. I don't think that means similar in playstyle. I think just a similar score, like in that same, like not necessarily an A-list game, maybe like a B-list game like Bayonetta. Is a score like that. It isn't related to the Bayonetta franchise, however, making it crystal clear. So I'm like, well, that's a wide fucking net.
There's going to be some only on the Wii U.
Some type of third-party exclusive Wii U game.
It's not going to be a huge game.
Yeah.
Wow, man, I could come up with that kind of news.
This I know, right? But
the
whatever.
next DDR will have an up arrow.
This is just for everybody to wank off to with their predictions and so forth. And
there's some guys supporting the Wii U. See?
Exactly. And I would think, though, if I'm going to bring this wank to climax, so to speak, I would assume the third party is Sega, because Sega's been pretty good to Nintendo. And, I don't know. Sonic exclusivity, that's already kind of happened. I mean, for this to really be news, it would have to be a bombshell. Like, could you imagine Shenmue 3 only on Wii U? Could happen.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Why not? Because they won't make their money back. That's exactly why.
Well, then why
it has to be something that Nintendo pays for, basically.
Why did Sega put the Sonic games? And supposedly Wii U, again, this is wank, but there was that article out there on VG Charts or whatever that the Wii U outsold the Xbox One in the last week or two leading up to Christmas, and that in Japan it made some recoveries in December, that the new bundles they put out over there actually really helped with sales of the Wii U. Now, I'm not obviously...
Well, fantastic that they outsold the Xbox One after having a whole year to sell systems.
Well,
congratulations to them.
I'm not saying that Nintendo is suddenly like OMG, like just blew everybody's panties off and, has made this full recovery. But at the same token, I think to throw it in the trash is a little premature as well.
All I'm saying is they need all the help they can get, because honestly, as stuff goes along, we're going to see less and less games being multi-platform on the Wii U. I mean, there's going to be a lot more games that are just PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and even though the Wii U looks like it should be capable of running that stuff, it just isn't.
All right, well, we shall see what happens next. Anyway, in the meantime, Dark Sakura.
Some stuff that may or may not be wank. So, God, stupid iPad. I'm going to throw this thing in the toilet. Okay. So,
next to Loki's Wii U?
Yeah, next to Loki's Wii U.
I don't have a Wii U.
That's because it's in the toilet. So, there was... it had been mentioned before that a developer of an arcade game, it was called Tobii Technologies, they had a game that could be controlled by eye tracking. And now they are bringing out eye tracking hardware that's going to let you use your eye movements to control other games. They're already working with Amnesia, The Dark Descent, Skyrim, and StarCraft, and there is video online that you can check out. In other news, there is a new character joining the Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed for iOS and Android. That is going to be Ryo Hazuki, and he is going to be apparently in a bulldozer. No, it's a car, a boat, and a plane for all of them. And it looks like his stuff looks like old Sega machines. So one of them looks like an Afterburner. There's an Outrun car. That's kind of neat. And then, last but not least,
That's a Space Harrier on it.
Oh, Space Harrier. I couldn't see it very well on my iPad. Sorry. Free Comic Book Day is coming up on Saturday, March 3rd, which we all of us comic book fans love it. There will be a special Archie comic that's going to be a Mega Man X edition, and it looks really nice. And it's being done, let's see, it's a flip comic. So take advantage of Free Comic Day, get your Mega Man on. That's it.
Sounds good. When is Free Comic Book Day?
March 3rd. May 3rd.
May 3rd. I was like, I thought it was a little later than that. All right.
Yeah, and then you get the Free Comic Book Day bags for like the rest of the year. Advertising the one that's already passed whenever you go get your comics.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the Fugle question.
It was May. I screwed up. Thank you, chat room. Whatever.
Let's go to the Fugle question of the week. Take Facebook and Google Plus and slam those words together. You get Fugle. No, we call it Fugle.
You get a portmanteau.
Yes, you do. We call it Fugle just because it has a ring to it. I don't know. The Fugle question of the week, where we ask a question of our Facebook and Google Plus communities, and we read some of our favorite answers here live on the show. Maybe all of them tonight. We had 11 answers on Facebook. I can probably read all those. All right. Some of them are long. Maybe not. Spoke too soon. All right. Here it is. Tonight is building off a game we talked about earlier. Dark Sakura talked about the Cuphead game, which was the game, I keep wanting to say fighting game, but it's not. It's like it actually
has fighting game elements in it, and they're 1-versus-1 fights.
Yeah.
But it's a running gun.
Okay. Well, I called it a fighting game because I thought that's what it kind of looked like, but I thought, all right, well, it led into this question of the week. If you were to design...
It's a fighting gun.
Okay. If you were to design your own fighting game, what would inspire you? And I imagine most people were thinking of Street Fighter-esque type of games. We'll see what we get into with some of the answers here. So what would inspire you? Just like the 30s cartoons inspired this game, what's your inspiration for a fighting game? Fifth Dream replied and said, I only want to make a fighting game if I could get Tim Burton or Edward Gorey to hand-draw the whole thing in black and white. Anybody have a time machine? Giove Dea says something wacky, like the concept of Clay Fighter 63 1/3, which I always loved that title, by the way, but with the gross or non-PC cartoon or gaming character like Ren and Stimpy, Conker, Chowder, Jake the Dog, Bender, the Tick, and so on. Codeman says, I think what would inspire me more are the crazies at Walmart.
People of
You like that
Walmart,
answer?
the game.
Walmart the fighter.
It would have a dive kick type feel and clothing customization. You would have the tackiest clothing options possible. One of the characters have a special attack where they send a horde of kids to scream and beat up the other fighter. I really haven't thought about this at all, though.
I think one of the super attacks should be called a CPC.
Mm-hmm.
So that, Child Protective Services will show up.
Call one of them Black Friday.
All right.
Christmas Eve.
Ed B says, I want another Power Stone with 4-player combat local and online. That's a good
I am behind that 100%.
co-signed. Ragenator says, I'd design a game that's over-the-top absurd that's equal parts Beavis and Butthead, Ace Ventura, or The Mask, and Animaniacs. Not those characters per se, but the feel of them, their style of humor. Loco Poco...
Still a slapstick game.
Yeah. Loco Poco replied and said that my dream would be to make a fighter with the same 3 versus 3 mechanics of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but all the fighters are drag queens. Tagline would be serving up fierceness to some other hoe's face. Bam. That's almost my dream game, too, would be a RuPaul's Drag Race game where they actually throw shade. Just saying. That's their special attack. They throw shade. Andy R. replies and says, I'd love to see PlayStation All-Stars 2. The game was really fun for me, having been a longtime PlayStation fan, but I felt like most people either wrote it off for being too similar to Smash Brothers or being too different than Smash Brothers. Elliot B. says, I'd be inspired by my own lack of ability and make a fighting game with a very accessible tutorial mode. Despite enjoying Street Fighter, Tekken, and so forth, I'm absolutely hopeless at pulling off anything beyond a Hadouken.
Wasn't Killer Instinct's tutorial like... it was expansive, but it was still detailed to the point that if you don't understand fighting game mechanics between the frame counting and the combo learning and the hitboxing and everything else, it was my understanding that Killer Instinct is like one of the best intros into this kind of thing you can have.
I think one of the DOA games had stress relief mode in it too.
I've actually played none of the Dead or
super
Alive
easy.
games.
All right, Tech 2030. Pokemon would be a great inspiration for a fighting game. Huge roster of monsters to choose from with all elemental specialties. Leveling up, movesets, and evolution would play a big factor. An arcade mode with all your challengers as gym leaders with their own specific monster specialty. I think a lot of the systems in Pokemon have the potential to cross over to the fighting genre. Degenerate Johnny says, my type of fighting game would be a Mortal Kombat-like game featuring Dr. Seuss characters. The reason for the Mortal Kombat system is because Dr. Seuss characters would have great finishing maneuvers. Imagine Sam I Am's finisher being him force-feeding his opponent green eggs and ham that will cause him or her to explode, or the cat's hat devouring his opponent's hole. Okay. SS200 Matt says, picture this. Fantasy characters from classic literature and fables, Alice versus Big Bad Wolf, done in the art style of American McGee and developed by NetherRealm Studios. Not really an original idea, but getting those two together would only lead to greatness. So, taking it to some dark places with those last couple Facebook answers there. Let's see how dark things got over at Google+. We had ActDeft reply and said, my ideas either exist already, like Fighting is Magic, or in their development, Pokemon fighting game teased in video or Pokemon Rumble. So I'm going to go the easy route and say Capcom versus SNK 3, damn it. And SVC Chaos doesn't count. That is a fair answer. Reddertainment, lastly, here over at Google Plus, says, I remember playing a game on the Genesis as a kid that had a single-player experience, but when it came time for battles, did so like in a fighting game. I haven't been to remember what game it was or happen to come across it anywhere, but I think I would make a fighting game like that. Either that or use my project as an excuse to bitch-slap politicians. So, didn't they make a fighting game out of politicians? I see it was kind of controversial.
I'm sure
they did. But any idea what he's talking about there? Genesis is a kid that was a single-player experience, but during battles was a fighting game.
That does sound shockingly familiar, but I can't put any details in
I can't
mind.
place my finger on what game he's talking about. It's a little too... not enough details for me.
Chat room? Anything? Chat room?
Yeah, we'll see what the chatters have to say over at live.vognetwork.com. Any fighting game requests here in studio or Loki on the Skype line?
I would say, like, I don't know. I was just reminded to watch a Salty Bet, so.
Maybe bring back Eternal Champions.
Because it's weird. Holy cow. But yeah, that'd be a perfect, Mugen. I mean, any of that stuff is just, that would make the perfect fighting game, and just watching how ridiculous things could get, and, on the website, Salty Bet. Yeah, that. I would love to see that. I'd love to see an app for Salty Bet in on consoles. That'd be fantastic.
That would be kind of fun.
I think it would be kind of fun, even though I give EA shit all the time. Wouldn't it be fun if they did a fighting game with their major players? I mean, that would be kind of fun.
I don't know. EA's done some really terrible fighting games. I mean, they did the really awful Marvel one like a while back. Rise of the, what was it? It was Rise of the Imperfects or something like that.
No, I didn't bother.
And then there was the Def Jam fighting game that they had that was terrible.
Well, see, they just license an engine that works. There you go.
I guess.
All right. I already gave my answer. I went the RuPaul's Drag Race where they actually throw shade and just kick the crap out of each other, but then hug it out at the end of the day. And maybe like instead of a finishing move, they lip sync for their life. And that would be like, that's how it ends. So that's my fighting game fantasy. Jason, you're awfully quiet over there. What would be your fighting game fantasy?
I don't know that I really have one. I like fighting games as they stand, and I don't know. That's not really a genre that I've ever had fanciful dreams about, we'll say.
I want a fighting game to smack some sense into Jason. Play more fast. Apathetic fighter where they don't really move.
What did you say to me?
They think it's just two characters lying in bed, and they might get out. All right. Anyhow,
job.
But it's cold outside. All right. Let's move on with some more news. Loki, I think I'll start us off with some news here.
Yeah. So apparently, DayZ did really well for the first week that it's been out. And now this is the alpha client of the standalone version of DayZ, not necessarily the same plugin for Arma 2 that has been out for a long time now. But they had 400,000 copies sold in the first week. Their server was actually with 40,000 people at one time at the highest, and they're doing pretty well. They're actually going to roll out some new updates soon throughout, I guess, 2014. Some of the stuff includes like better security against hacking and exploits, also cooking and the ability to hunt animals in the game. So I had bought or had gotten the DayZ mod for Arma 2, but I still haven't gotten a chance to actually play it. But it looks interesting.
I don't know a lot about this game, honestly. I've seen it all over Steam, and I saw it during the sale, but, I don't have time to play everything, and that's probably a good thing when it comes to sales and so forth. But, yeah, this is just kind of a game I've missed out on. So roughly, like, why would I want to get it? Why is this game doing so well, Loki? What void does it fill in gaming?
It's basically a zombie survival game, but it's incredibly realistic because Arma is, kind of a military survival, a military sim, and so it has everything from you carry all of your equipment, you have to go scavenge buildings for stuff, but mostly you don't have to watch out just for zombies. You have to watch out for the other players, which there's all sorts of crazy stuff that goes on with the other players. Kind of taking that whole survival mentality, and It's basically permadeath. So anytime you get killed in the game, you're gone.
Because I was gonna say, I was like, oh great, just what we need, another zombie game, because I've never seen one of those before. But I get it. So it's like hyper realistic, and it's more like the hardcore. It sounds like not like Dark Souls in that regard.
Yeah. I've taken to understand that it's basically a first-person shooter. Well, third person. You see your character running around. Third-person action paired with Minecraft, because crafting and combining and cooking, smelting, all that kind of stuff plays a big role in getting the supplies that you need to survive. It is survival taking advantage of a lot of really modern and popular concepts in gaming. They've looked pretty fun. Not entirely sure it's my type of game, but they've been fun to watch.
Tech2030 in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com. And I'm not. He might be referring to this, or he might be referring to something else they're talking about in chat, because they're talking about a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and so forth. But Tech2030 says
he's talking about a Pokemon thing.
Oh, okay. Well, he said I want to bring this up anyway. Tech2030 said, yeah, that didn't seem like it was an actual game to me. It just looks like some CG filler or something. So I guess that's not about this particular game, but it does kind of get me thinking, like, sometimes I kind of wish, like, in Steam or whatever, when there's a game, you can get the TLDR didn't version of the game, too long, semicolon, didn't read. Like, you can get, or didn't watch with a trailer. Like, what is this game all about? Super realistic zombie thing, like, just like Loki described in, like, 2 sentences. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Am I just that lazy American guy who can't be bothered? I guess I am. That's fine. But there's so many games. I can't keep track of them all. It's tough. I guess that's why I have lovely people like you to talk to in this show and blogs to try and keep tabs on all of it, because it's pretty crazy out there, y'all.
Californian
Don't cry,
problems.
Rob.
I might cry a little bit. All right.
Bitter tears.
I'll cry tears of happiness over this, because this is pretty cool. Video games crossing over into the GLAAD, or the GLAAD, intriguing LGBT characteristics of 2013. And if you don't know what any of these, I just threw like all this alphabet soup at you. If you don't know what GLAAD is, it's the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. Is that what that is?
I think so.
Basically, when they're trying to. Sometimes they're a little bit militant, but for the most part, they do a lot of good stuff for, like, just trying to make sure that people are aware. Like, for example, in gaming, you shouldn't call other people something that rhymes with maggot.
They had really good information at the Castro Street Fair a few years ago.
Yeah.
I remember running into some of their people there and actually having a really good conversation.
Right. And LGBT, of course, you've probably heard that before: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered. So GLAAD puts out this list, I suppose, every year. And I know they've done this for television, but they put out a list of the most intriguing LGBT characters of 2013. And most of it is, of course, about television. I'm trying to think about some of the other stuff that they actually put in there.
I haven't seen the list, but I think like Modern Family, maybe that's more.
Probably the year it came out. Oh, okay. There's that French film, Blue. I actually pulled up the list from GLAAD.org here. Blue is the Warmest Color is like this huge French film that's about these 2 younger girls that fall in love and so forth. Let's see. Fox has a comedy called Brooklyn 99, which has a deadpan. I've never seen this show. I guess it's the Andy Samberg Fox show, which I don't. Okay, I mean, I know Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live, but I didn't know he had a show now. Captain Ray Holt is apparently a gay character, and kind of does deadpan. I think it's. Let me phrase it this way. I'm gay myself. I think you all know that now if you've listened to this show. I know, right?
I'm so surprised.
I only talked about my partner Alan earlier in the show.
Coming out, your 2014 resolution,
right? Okay, so if you didn't know, okay,
he went back in for 5 seconds so he could come back out again.
So. I like video games and I'm gay. Gasp, shock, awe. Oh, it's 2013 or 2014. I'm still writing 2013 on my checks. It's 2014. This shouldn't shock people anymore. My point is, as a gay man, I don't like when we see these stereotypes on TV. I realize sometimes they're fun. Like, Jack on Will and Grace, he served a purpose, and that show was years old and at the time. But you know who my favorite gay character on television was? My favorite portrayal of a gay guy on TV?
Neil Patrick Harris from How I Met Your Mother?
No, but he is great in general. Who doesn't love Neil Patrick Harris? But no. Well, he's not a gay character
He's
on the show.
playing a straight character.
He's a gay guy playing a straight character.
That's true.
So, but anyway, my absolutely favorite portrayal of a gay man on TV is the ABC comedy Happy Endings, which unfortunately isn't on anymore. There was a character named Max. And Max was this slobby video game playing guy who was into dudes. He was me, basically.
You're not slobby.
But, I mean, he was my spirit animal. So that's why I liked that portrayal. So he was probably on this list in 1 year.
Well, you want to know one thing that's pretty fucked up? I was watching an interview with John Barrowman, and he auditioned for that role in Will and Grace.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
And was rejected for it because he wasn't gay enough. After having married his partner a couple years ago, and... Anyway.
Irony. Anyway.
They need the stereotype instead of the normal freaking human being.
If you've never seen Happy Endings, I'm almost positive it's on Netflix. It's got to be on Hulu, but I think it was on Netflix too, and that's like my favorite portrayal. But anyway, why did I bring this all up in the first place? Because it does have to do with games. I didn't just go on a random tangent about gay things in the media. What made this important is that amongst this list of movies and TV and so forth, they actually called out here, and you actually can see it here on the site, number 5, they actually called out The Last of Us, which, was a huge PlayStation 3 game. And unfortunately, it's one of those games that's on my list to play, but I'm behind.
I want that game so badly.
I know, it's it's in my rental queue list, and I really want to play this. And just reading more about this makes me want to play it more, because there is a character in the game named Bill that's kind of like a loner in one of the towns in the game that you learn through a backstory. He had a partner named Bill. They were in a relationship, but because of the plague, the partner, I guess, I'm assuming, turned into a zombie or whatever the deal is in that game, and so it kind of gets into a story about that relationship. But again, Bill, not a stereotype. So that's, but that's really cool that we're seeing video games really kind of penetrate the mass media in all these sorts of ways, where it's not just, how do I phrase it? Like, it's not just video games kind of, you can sit at the table too, because, my kids play Pac-Man and so forth. But no, like in this very political organizations list of acknowledging representation in various art forms, they include video games right alongside movies and television. That's really cool. I believe they also named a comic book character in this as well.
Batwoman?
No, it is shapeshifter Benjamin Deeds came out as gay, leading his teacher Emma Frost to immediately reply, "I don't care." I think actually it gets into the whole. Oh. This is just kind of all the LGBT characters in comics. It's one like kind of blanket.
Of course, they bring up Wiccan and Hulkling, but they're actually like I ship them so hard.
So. Prodigy is bisexual and so forth. So they include comic books in this too.
And there was also North Star got married in comics, I think the year before.
Right.
I want to say. Mm-hmm. But there was also, though I wasn't a big DC fan, but there was a whole big shitstorm around Batwoman being able to propose to her girlfriend and not get married because no one was getting married.
Yes. And then there was that whole ugliness too when that story came out about the art that they wanted people to draw for like an
the Harley
audition.
Quinn naked dead in the bathtub.
Yuck.
Sexualizing the suicide, that type of thing.
Anyway, let's focus on the positive, and that is gaming media and a powerful story like The Last of Us sitting right alongside these other. This is a good thing.
You know what? I have a goal for this year, Rob.
What's that?
John Barrowman on the show to do a bumper. That's my goal.
That's a lofty goal.
Dear John Barrowman, will you please do a bumper for OLR because I love you.
If he's at Dragon Con this year, I will make it because now I'm all about Dragon Con. I'm going to be on a plane to Atlanta come Labor Day. Thank you, Bobby.
You better fit me in your overhead compartment because I need to see my man.
When you say it that way, it sounds so sexy.
I want to be his hag.
You can be in my overhead compartment. Ew, no, it's gross because you're a friend. All right.
I wasn't even thinking. Rob, you're a horrible human being.
Yes, I know. That's why you love me. All right. Speaking of horrible human beings, Dark Sakura.
Do you mean love or loathe?
Speaking of horrible human beings, Dark Sakura. No, I'm not saying Dark Sakura is the horrible human being. I'm saying the story is about what horrible
fuckery is what it is.
People are doing. Yes, it's a story about fuckery.
I'm kind of glad that now I have a new computer that never had WoW touch it. Blizzard sent out a big warning for World of Warcraft players, saying that there's a dangerous Trojan that they should be on the lookout for that could steal their account information even if they're using an authenticator. It's called. You can actually find it by going by making an MS Info file. This is, of course, PC because I don't see anything about it affecting the Mac players. But you look for a startup program that's either Disker or Disker 64, and it will show up with Disker run DLL32.exe, the usual, or Disker 64. And then they're trying to basically find out how to remove it, but none of the regular virus programs can. I can tell you that there are ways of removing Trojans, but you need to completely disconnect from the internet once you find out the how. So you can get rid of them. You just need to be able to dig into your startup files. And you'll probably have to do a registry clean as well.
Just a warning to those of you that want to play MMOs, and don't let stuff like this scare you from playing MMOs, but you've got to be careful because people really they come after the golden games and stuff in people's accounts hardcore. Mm-hmm. So if the game ever offers a second level authentication, and almost all the big MMOs do. WoW certainly does. In fact, it's a universal BattleNet. Final Fantasy XIV has an authenticator. Star Wars: The Old Republic had one. I'm assuming Rift has one too. If they have these second levels of authentication, take it. Do it because I'm
But they're
always
saying this is
shocked.
breaking through the authenticator.
Yes, this breaks through the authenticator because what they did, my understanding is it's like a fake curse client.
Yeah.
Is that they were putting it up there as the WoW curse client, which is a very popular add-on managing. So people would Google it and they would get this. Not
and
the
you
first
can't
time.
really get rid of curse that easily,
Yeah.
even after you've uninstalled. I'm going to read, though, this paragraph that's a reply to this that was submitted by Havok, I guess. I would encourage anyone with the Trojan to seek help before resorting to a reformat and to make sure you're not getting help from one of those, quote, professionals who just reformat for you. Everything available on the virus suggests it should be entirely removable by fairly standard manual removal methods, like I was saying earlier. It does nothing special. There's no TDLFS file system, no alternate data stream files. It doesn't even particularly protect itself except by a couple task scheduler entries. And so, yeah, I've removed one of those annoying ones that keeps reinstalling itself every time you connect to the internet, and I had to do a complete registry rewrite on mine.
Yeah, be careful. You will have to get the gun and shoot your computer. And then burn the room.
But this will just be. This one seems super easy to remove from what I'm seeing on here. I think it's more in there as kind of a half-assed kind of thing. Because if they really wanted to make it dangerous, then they could have done a lot more to it.
Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, Bobby Blackwolf is in our chat saying, remember, I got hacked by gold farmers in WoW, and I never played it. But that's right, but he had a Battle.net account, I'm assuming from playing like StarCraft or Diablo or something else over the years, and they used that to make the WoW tune and get gold and all that.
And Brad from Pod Culture says the only way to be 100% sure is to nuke and reformat. That's not necessary. If this one isn't doing any file protection on itself other than Task Scheduler, that's not necessary at all.
Maybe with this, but I think it's important to say that what Brad is saying, Blizzard, what they call Blue Poster community managers were saying, when they didn't know enough about this, that's what they were saying you would have to do if you got caught with this. At this time, the only sure way we know is to reformat your computer. Exactly what he said. So sometimes in the early stages, and they're still trying to figure out what the hell this virus, Trojan, whatever is, that's how you get rid of it.
I do also suggest, and I'm normally not a big advocate of different programs, but Hijack This is very useful. And that's what
I like the name. Hijack This.
No, what it does is it runs through all of your processes that are running so that you can get rid of any type of, shareware, spyware, anything like that. And I also run a program on my Chrome and don't enact it on our website because we need the ads, called Ghostery.
Or whitelist vognetwork.com, please.
But it's called Ghostery.
Yeah.
That basically stops websites from installing trackers and advertising detail. And it works for Facebook.
In a crazy related story, I don't know if you heard about this, but Yahoo apparently got a huge hack over the past few days where people... Now, you actually had to click on the ads, but when you click on the ad, it would install malware. Like somebody hacked Yahoo in that regard. And I have an app on my iPhone where whenever you open it up, the ad on the bottom automatically opens up a game to download, and that is so irritating. I can't imagine that is per Apple's terms of service. It's kind of
kill that now. Just literally that situation. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
When they're resorting to nefarious things,
it's ridiculous.
Stop rewarding them in any way.
Yeah.
That's ad networks. Whether somebody actually manages to make it into a basic, more or less reputable network is actually like that. That's what drive-by malware and drive-by downloads were all about. Is that you're on a site that isn't technically illegal, but can't get a prominent first-party ad network to allow them to monetize their content and get ad revenue. Off of web pages. And in the era of Java, constant Java vulnerabilities, constant Flash vulnerabilities, and even like older browsers and just basic rendering exploits. This is the argument for making sure that all your stuff is up to date and disabling as many third-party plugins as you reasonably can. Java and Flash being the two biggest offenders. If you're that crazy, disable JavaScript and you will be that much safer, but your internet browsing experience will also be much worse.
That's why there's another program I use too that's another type of ad blocker, but it also again blocks those little installs from advertising and tracking because Facebook tracks your web search data for advertising. There's another one.
That way I keep seeing porn ads.
The Facebook one that I use is called Facebook Purity. and it removes all of the ads, all of the trackers, and you can even set it up to make Facebook look like it did 5 years ago. So, but there's a number of trackers that keep from auto-installing stuff, tracking your data, and blocking JavaScript installs.
I love this comment, though, in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com, and then we'll move on to the next story. Redtertainment says, malware, like the Yahoo toolbar.
No, the Ask toolbar, too.
Or, this always cracks me up. I mean, this is a little bit of a rant, but I'm sorry, I have to go there. The Alexa toolbar, right? I mean, that was a big thing back in the day, and that, like, now that website, which I think they were bought by Amazon, it measures traffic, you know, I guess based on the toolbar usage and so forth. That's one of the meters that E3 uses to see if your website is worthy, you know, of being blessed by the E3 Pope, where your organization can come in. Because believe me, I've been on both sides of it, where yes, my site was good enough, no, my site was not good enough. And it always blew my mind. I'm like, really, Alexa? Like, most tech-minded people I know to get that shit off their computer. Like, that might have been cool in, like, 1998, but now, less cool.
It's like having Gator.
Yeah, right? Or Weatherbug. Or all the stuff my parents have on their computer.
Bonsai Buddy, whatever the hell that.
Rob.
Bonzi.
Rob.
Yeah.
Why does your dad's computer take 15 minutes to boot, Rob? I just bought it. Rob, I bought him a new PC and he already broke it, Rob. Rob, can you come over?
The inevitable
That's
screenshot.
also like Dan's grandmother wanting to...
And then it's like you load it up and literally the corner thing where the time is like 3 rows high, 15 icons. It's like, oh my God, people.
The inevitable screenshot of people's browsers with like 15 or 20 search toolbars.
Yeah, then my dad's like, well, I was on this genealogy website and they had I had to install it, Rob. It's just genealogy. My dad's really into genealogy.
So's Dan's grandmother, and but she's...
There's something about genealogy and spy bars.
But she's gotten really good about not installing any of that stuff. We basically said, if it asks you to install it, call us first. So she's actually gotten pretty computer savvy. So proud. She's so nice.
Alrighty. Loki. Is Loki there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Have you been cat-butted again?
What?
Have you been cat-butted again?
No, she's sleeping right here. I've been salty bedded again.
See, this is what I miss about having you in studio, because at least I can see when your eyes are glazed over. Loki, over here. It's fine. It's fine.
I was watching Naruto get his ass kicked by one of the riders. And unfortunately, it was the one I was like, oh, yeah, there's no way that he's going to lose. I'm going to bet big on that. And yeah, didn't happen. All right, anyways, so speaking of betting and professional things, apparently there is a esports team, the Quadratic Gaming esports team, and the CEO, Simon, he has disappeared because he owes a lot of people money. Apparently, he is owing, one pro StarCraft 2 player $23,000 in salary and prize money for months now. And I guess they're even saying that, upwards to $40,000 is owed in total across a bunch of other staff members. And he has basically disappeared since middle of December. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah. We just had a story a couple weeks ago about how esports is getting bigger and bigger. I mean, is this the dark side of what's to come, or is this not? This is just an isolated thing. What do you think? Like, is this something we're going to hear more about, or?
Well, especially when more money's involved, I could see more of this type of stuff happening. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of disappointing, I guess. But I think this type of thing happens. It's not just isolated to esports. That's for sure.
It's true. There's bad people everywhere.
Oh God, what was the company's name? The Maryland, Rhode Island. Oh man, I'm not even getting any of the details anymore. The Baseball Stars MMO company.
Rhode Island.
Kurt Schilling.
Yeah, Schilling in Rhode Island, and the back
big,
payment and that. And you want to talk about raking up big money in a big hurry? Wow.
All right. Well, let's move on. Jason, what do you have for us before we get to the mailbag?
Well, are you scared yet? Talking about money always tends to make that happen. There is a new biofeedback-based horror game called Nevermind that attempts to detect players' fear and make the game harder as their fear continues to rise, provided that they're not able to calm themselves back down. Basically, the point is find what breaks you, confirm that via the in-game monitoring of your heart rate your heart rate variance via a chest strap that you wear when playing it, and throw similar kinds of scares or more or less scares just in general. The plot of it is that you are I read this and my brain already reset. You are hired as a neuroprober at the Neurostalgia Institute. I don't like either of the way those words come together. Somewhat of an Inception-style plotline in the sense that you are living out other people's horrors and mental states to determine the cause of all of their suffering and all that's occurring in the first place. It's intended to be a fully fledged game solving puzzles based in other people's fears and minds. And it's... I want to know where this is actually being rolled out, because it has a very big barrier to entry in the sense that you actually need a couple of pieces of hardware to monitor what's going on in the first place. But you want to talk about immersion and really finding the best scary
I would
game
lose
to
this
play?
game in 5 seconds. That's what scared me about that. Remember,
Vitality
Yeah,
sensor.
the vitality sensor. That was called the Wii was supposed to do the whatever happened to that thing, right? But that thing disappeared. But I'm like, I would so lose. I get freaked out by games and so forth.
I could
oh my
not
gosh.
do this kind of stuff on my own, but I love playing stuff like this in groups.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I'm if I'm the one to do it and everybody else is there to watch, and playing off of other people's emotions is so much fun.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I don't think I think it's all just being teased right now. Developed as a part of Masters of Fine Arts thesis within the University of Southern California's Interactive Media and Games Division. Nevermind took about a year to build to its present source as a proof of concept game. Reynolds plans to hold a Kickstarter project to launch the game with a variety of disturbed patients in late 2014.
It's very interesting to see the places that gaming might be headed in the next 10 years. Because think about how far technology's gone just in the past, 10 years as it is.
We had head-mounted screens in the 90s, but they were just TVs 3 inches from our face.
Yeah,
and now we're in them with depth and motion and everything else.
With it's kind of been Oculus Rift night here at VOG. But yeah, exactly. You look at that as part of what could be the future of gaming. You look at something like this that actually can kind of feel your emotions, so to say. It's kind of freaky. But of course, it's also important to say not everything always catches on, like the vitality sensor or 3D televisions have kind of fizzled out. We thought it was going to be a huge thing, and it's kind of not.
Especially for something that would be such a one-off accessory. There's actually a lot of potential for this, because there is this alternative use to something that can also be put to use for exercise games otherwise. Because people wear chest straps to monitor their heart rate and get a better sense of how they're doing on their workouts. So if you couple application of these accessories with this and other complementary games, there's a lot of potential for a good base of games to take advantage of it, and it won't just be a one-off purchase for something you'll play 3 times and then shove off to the land of misfit accessories.
All right. Well, I wonder if this is the type of game that'll get demoed for me at a convention in the future, but we'll see. All right. In the meantime, we're going to go to the segment where you guys email us every week. Mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. That is mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. And Dark Soccer is going to dive into the mailbag head first and find some emails that she believes are worthy of being read on the show tonight.
I was making the squish.
Not a lot in the mailbag. It was relatively...
2. There were 2.
Y'all should have made New Year's resolutions to email the show at some point this year. And I just want to put this out there real quick. I'm always blown away when we get emails that are like, I've been listening to you for 6 years, and this is the first time I've ever sent you an email. And it's nobody I've ever heard of, but I'm always like, wow, there's more people out there that I didn't even know existed. So all I'm saying, don't be shy. If it's your very first time ever emailing the show, I'll make Dark Sakura give a bye on the spelling and grammar. Just email us and say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Please comment
And
on
I
something
only
on the
do
show.
that because it's hilarious.
Yeah, she isn't. It comes from a place of love, not of hate.
Of love of grammar.
Love of education. That's right. All right.
Unwelcome education.
All right, to the emails.
How goes it, OLR? Grammar police, lol. I say how goes it, so... I say how be. Anyway. This is my first time hitting up the show, as I'm always busy during the live show.
Perfect.
And
Hello and welcome.
Just wanted to thank you for the entertainment during my busy work weeks. Don't stop.
You're
Hope you
welcome.
all enjoyed the new year. Yes, new year. First time emailer, IQ. And
IQ.
You need to get rid of your Galaxy and get an iPhone.
Was a stop. IQ was a PlayStation 1 game that's very hard to find now that had a great soundtrack.
EYEQUU.
Oh.
And you're thinking of Intelligent Cube.
Yeah, but it was IQ. If you find the game, it's like I period Q period. Remember?
That game was weird.
I remember
It
the
was
game.
weird.
I don't remember the art. It's a very good game.
was
Dang
like
it,
one
how
of
did
very
I get
hard game.
disconnected again?
Wasn't it like a PlayStation release game? It was like one of the first games that was out for it.
Very close, but I don't think it was that early.
All right.
I didn't have a PlayStation until like a year or two before the PS2. What the hell do I know?
I think that was the first game I ever rented on the PlayStation was Intelligent Cube.
I remember the only early PlayStation that I remember is the Jam Pack demos, and I remember playing Irritating Stick.
Irritating Stick was...
I love
Irritating.
those jam pack demos. Were awesome.
Yeah,
They
those
really
PlayStation
were.
demo discs were the shit. I remember that.
Were.
You know, we have like a pile of them, like 2 years worth of them,
Oh, good
of those
stuff.
demo discs.
Anyway, thank you to the kind emailer who
Thank
just
you, IQ.
wrote in to say hello. Appreciate it.
TYIQ.
You must have a high IQ if you listen to this show. All right.
The last email says, if you read this on air, use Turbo Lover as the name.
Okay.
Well, since you actually put your real name in the body of your email, I'm going to change that out for Turbo. Okay? Happy New Year, guys. Just want to let Rob and the rest of you know that my Xbox Live account was hacked. Found this out when my new Xbox One called me Jen instead of by his name. Of course, nothing bad happened since I don't keep current information on there, but an email from Xbox Microsoft would have been nice. Hope the hackers don't learn to use the Kinect anytime soon. Love your show. Later. Turbo Lover.
Whoa. So this, because we haven't heard of Xbox hacks happening really in a while, but he's saying this is happening on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it's all an Xbox account. just
Well,
in
yeah,
general.
it's Microsoft.
And there was the story from Bobby from Christmas Eve that the support reps didn't allow people to break in, and so he just wound up getting the survey email from Microsoft after the fact.
Right.
But nothing changed on console or on account.
Something to consider is that I would like to know from this emailer, do you share your Microsoft password with another site that possibly got hacked? And maybe they reverse engineered, because that was a big thing going around about how they got into the last Xboxes, although I remain somewhat skeptical if that's 100% true. But it does happen with other, and just a general piece of advice. I know I've said this on the show before, but please, your banking account password, do not use that password anywhere else but your bank. Your email password, do not use that anywhere else but your email, because what does everything come back to reset your passwords on other sites?
Your email.
Your email. And those are probably the two most important things, are your bank account and your email. Never, ever, ever share those passwords. If you share those passwords with any other website, especially Xbox Live or something like that that's vulnerable and gets hacked a lot, change it right now. Pause the show. Change those passwords. You'll thank me later.
Secondary piece of advice: don't share security questions and answers between them either.
You would be a lot of
Sites now are using really unique questions.
Yeah, and
though.
it's because like mother's maiden name, that shit is easy to figure out, and some of that stuff.
Where you were born, hello, LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah, or because people will pass around memes on Facebook that are like, fill out this survey and get to know all about me, and it's
That's
all the freaking password reset questions.
Where those came from.
Yes,
those
and I
were a
used to-
scam to begin
I
with.
used to do those on LiveJournal all the time.
Oh, all of us did.
All
I
of
did
us
too.
did, because weren't thinking that far ahead. But
Because it came from our friends.
yeah.
This part of a reason why I, say that my hometown is Mobile, and I've mentioned where I was born, but I hardly ever do it. There's a reason behind that. And I don't tell people the hospital I was born at
Right.
or the street I lived on. I think only maybe a total of 6 listeners total have my address.
Right.
And that's because I've met them in person.
Right. Well, that's how I feel about my real last name. Like, no offense, but it's just like I separate my work life and my.
I want to be a famous artist someday,
Oh, but I'm
Rob. So
staring
as
at this
many people
envelope
know
that
my
says Rob
name.
Roberts. Oh, no, it doesn't.
See, I want to be a famous artist someday, so as many people know my name as possible just makes me more famous.
Oh, Bobby Blackwolf, good point. Same with the here's your porn name, street you grew up on, plus your mother's maiden name, LOLOL.
Yeah.
So I just make up something.
And so many people buy it, hook, line, and sinker. And I was probably one of those people, honestly.
Well, I've always gone in and used either I've used a stepmother's, even though I don't really talk to her that much anymore. I've used her maiden name. I've used my grandmother's maiden name, and I have a list of what I use where I'm kind of anal about that. So
Be safe, people. Scary internet.
Sorry, random tangent that I don't think that emailer intended, but it's a good, just
more
good
education,
protocol.
more education.
Because, like I said, like I'm not saying all this to sound high and mighty. Like I'm saying this to say I have made these mistakes too, and now looking back, I go, "Gosh, Rob, I wish someone had smacked you upside the head."
I've had 2 email accounts hacked in my life.
Oh yeah, my Yahoo account was hacked some time ago.
Yahoo once, AOL once.
Yes,
I can safely say that I've never had my email hacked.
Lucky you.
But I don't know if it's because all of my passwords have been in a non-English language. So
all right. Is that it for emails?
That's it.
Well, we need some more for next week, so please consider mailbag@orangelawnsradio.com is the place to send those emails. In the meantime, this is the part of the show where we get angsty with a segment we've been doing ever since episode 1. And you know what? Here we are. It's the first show of 2014, which would mean our 12th broadcast year. We don't officially have the 12th anniversary until June, but I mean, the show started in 2002. 2014 is our 12th broadcast year, if you can believe it. And we have done this segment ever since episode 1 because sometimes, guys, we just like to bitch.
Oh, this is bad. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
FU's of the week time. Dark Sakura,
The
FU.
bird that shat in the middle of my windshield while I was going down the 80.
FU birds.
Remember that time we were at Sizzler and some bird. First off, that's funny in and of itself. The time
Remember
Jason,
Sizzler?
The time Jason happened to say- Remember when it almost killed my boyfriend from the food poisoning? But then, just to add insult to injury, a bird decided to take the biggest shit I've ever seen a bird take. Right on my windshield.
Well, we've seen the cars in Davis. But no,
It's like the bird ate at that Sizzler.
you know what?
Well, I
That's
mean,
gross.
the runoff in the back is...
And F you to me because I have a present for your and Alan's anniversary.
Shucks.
That, well, I told you what one of them was already. It's, you know, that sign that's in my house that says Dan and James, and they both you too.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
And I made you a typography present that's basically different nerd fonts.
Well, we're trying to move in March, so if nothing else, it'll be High House for you.
Well, I'll just give it to you next week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Or we'll do dinner lunch, Brett, for lunch.
Appreciate it.
Brett for lunch snack.
Breakfast lunch snack. All right. Loki, your FUs.
My FU goes to Salty Bet because I just can't pick a winner.
You just can't pick a winner. I don't know. I'm not super angsty. FU to all the construction on this street that I know is going to fuck up everything when I go to work tomorrow. And because, you know, tomorrow's the day that everybody goes back. I went back to work on Thursday, but everybody goes back tomorrow. And I'm just not looking forward to the fuckery that is construction on this street at 8 a.m.
Happy New Year! Fuck everything.
Yeah, right? So I'm not looking forward to that. Jason, last but not least.
Ooh. FU to sleep schedules, and mine especially. I don't think I've woken up before like 10 a.m. for probably 3 to 4 months now. And I might have to be up at 6 in like 3 weeks. And it's a horrifying thought, especially on the week after my team's meetup where there will be lots of late nights. I don't know if libations is the correct word, but there will definitely be lots of celebrations and ongoing. And to have only a weekend to recover, which also includes coming up to Sacramento, getting back into San Francisco at just a little bit before midnight, and still having to wind down, waking up the next day that early is not going to be fun. FU sleep.
I've got to reset my schedule too.
Alan and I were like sleeping until like 11. I think one day we slept until noon. Like during the
noon. I was up at 2 p.m. today.
Oh my god!
And yesterday.
Okay, you win.
I wake up multiple times, but like my sleep because I don't have a commute has changed everything for better or for worse. Waking up. I didn't wake up that early to get out here when I took my road trip out to California. I woke up at 11 because I wasn't exactly going to prepare for 12 days of TMI stewing in your own filth on the road for 12 hours. You know what I mean. You're sitting in one place. You're going. Well, it was kind of cold outside. Anyways,
As long as you waited till you got to a rest stop, because you make it sound kind of nasty.
I was making a sweat comment.
Okay. All right. Not that you you just. I'll just
not rat race on the police officer's car.
Right.
Anyways, I have not woken up early in a long time, and I'm gonna have to wake up insanely early so that I don't get caught in Peninsula San Francisco traffic. It's going to suck.
I feel your pain because I have to reset for my hour and a half drive.
The people in training that actually do have a set schedule. You do actually have to be there in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Citrus Heights to Elk Grove. Ooh. Yeah. I'm fighting the downtown traffic, so that's why I'm leaving well before I have to. Yeah. Or maybe I just will stop sleeping and live on No-Doz and Red Bull. Not that I advocate that, but I've done it before.
All right. Just a couple more news stories for you guys, and then we're going to get to your calls at 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. But don't call yet because we have 2 more stories. Loki.
All right. So there's a brand new iOS and Android app that's going to be I'm sorry. Yeah, it's being made by Yuji Naka, and it is a game where you photograph whales. A little bit of a change from some of the other games that he's done. It is, I guess, free on iOS and with in-app purchases and $5 on Android. So it's
it called
Pokemon's...
Porpoise Snap?
It's called Real Whales.
Ooh.
Yeah. Slow news week.
Darsaga, did you run to the store to download
No,
this
I'm actually
now?
downloading another game that I saw a review for, but I didn't understand that it was already out, called Dancing Russian Men, by the guys that do Weeble and Bob. And, the Badger, Mushroom.
Oh, God, that.
And apparently, this game looks like it plays like Vibribbon. So.
All right. Well, one more story for you guys, and this will make some of our listeners very happy to hear about this because I know some of you out there really love your My Little Pony.
Ranma, hi.
Where's Rama? Where's Act
Hi, Act
Deft?
Deft.
Where my bronies at? Put your hooves up.
Rob, by the way.
All right, what?
I actually watched some.
Did you?
And I didn't hate it.
I you know what? I can't hate. I've never watched it, but I just want to point out.
It was actually kind of funny.
I don't smoke weed either, but I don't have a problem with people that do. Anyway. My real point, Main 6 is the group that made the My Little Pony fighting game. My Little Pony Fighting is Magic, which what happened? This whole thing went back and forth because didn't they get cease and desisted? But then they came back and it was like, oh well, the creator will make other things for you, but it can't actually be My Little Pony fighting game. So anyway,
they have an engine they want to put to use, but But to be a pony-based game, Hasbro shut down.
Okay, so I guess here's the latest with that game. With that game, the group went to their blog, which is at main6.com, and they actually said they're going to launch a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, they haven't chosen what, at some point early this year when the game development will really kick off. And, of course, the game will use the Z engine, which Skullgirls use the same engine and so forth. And some of the actually, it sounds like all of the characters in the game will be created by Lauren Faust, who made the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic TV show and all those characters. So, this... and obviously My Little Pony, like, they do conventions and shit for this, so I don't see any way that they won't make their funding. The sky's the limit for this thing, so there you go. We're trying to raise $420,000 to make this happen. No, I don't know what the amount is. All right. Anyhow, so there it is. That is that. That's it. Let's open up the Skype line, you guys. 1-877-GAME-OLR, or our username on Skype is Orange Lounge Radio. That's all one word. Now, I'm trying the new thing with the Skype line that we started last week, so I'm hoping it works okay. But we'll see. Your calls hopefully coming in very soon. 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Oh, we are getting a call. So let's go to the phones and take that call, and let's get to it. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hey, this is Def.
Hey.
Oh my God, video.
Are you just saying that because last week I razzed you because you called in? You didn't even say anything about the new video we had going during the calls.
Yeah, kind of. My first thought when I saw the video was, oh my God, I gotta set my video so you can see me too.
There we go.
And forgot about telling or at least saying something, but okay.
Which makes for great radio when we talk about all this video. But seriously though, what's on your mind tonight, buddy?
I was gonna mention a mini review of a game you talked about, or at least received in a Twitter topic.
Yeah.
That is Bike Rider DX. Don't know if any of you got it or buy it.
The very last, one of the last news articles from last week about it being the most downloaded game in Japan. I said it looked trials-like on the 3DS.
You know, I will say this. That tweet that Aaron sent us, YYR, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said his real name, sorry. But the tweet that he sent us actually got retweeted by the people that made that game. And, like, yeah, I was getting the emails on that, like, because, you know, you get a tweet you were mentioned in was retweeted. And so, yeah, that was kind of, I thought that was really cool that his tweet got acknowledged. So you actually downloaded the game and checked it out.
Yeah, I had some extra money on the eShop, so I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty fun game.
Yeah.
Not that challenging and not that different all around. It's basically the same game throughout all the levels.
Mm-hmm.
It gets kind of difficult later on, but not that much challenging. It's a pretty simple game. But it's really fun. For the $3, it's worth it. I think it's a must buy for the 3DS.
There you go.
And it has really great music too.
So the value is all there. So this is something you can get on the North American. It is not, because that was one thing when I saw that I was like, oh, but I can't get the Japanese. But it is available in the North American store.
It is. I don't remember if I linked it in the description of last week's YouTube video because YouTube doesn't let you link to any arbitrary URL and annotations. But I'll double check and make sure that it's in the episode description.
More YouTube fuckery. Get out. No, I can see. There's a lot of dumb shit on those YouTube annotations.
There's also no alternative, so.
Yeah, it sucks. Anyway. All right.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, it's a pretty fun game, so if you have $3 to spare for the eShop, it's a pretty fun, simple game. I got it on Friday. I almost beat it all. I think 15 levels. And each level has 5 different stages, and I have almost beaten it.
That's right.
I have like two different levels missing, and there's also a Grand Prix mode that it's like an endless mode, and that's pretty much where the replayability comes into play. Because it's endless and you have many obstacles to dodge and all that stuff that makes the game fun.
All right, I think you've got me pretty convinced. I've got some Nintendo stuff to check out. I have to check out that, and I have to check out Dr. Luigi, which came out this week, and I have yet to play that either. Which I forgot that game was coming out, but yeah, that came out the past couple days. So I noticed just before I let you go, the story that I just did because I know you're a brony. Yeah. Where's your hooves at?
I actually have my brony t-shirt right on.
Of course
right now.
Do. Now, you tweeted us that story right before I read it. This just in a funny coincidence, the Fighting is Magic Main 6. Are you looking forward to this? Is there something you'd like to add or clarify on what I talked about?
If people know me and have listened to OLR before and listened to my calls and everything like that, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this, and I even tweeted to Main 6 that they have my full support, and they tweeted me back, thanks, and hopefully, and like what I was saying last week, hopefully that their game is gonna be popular and it's gonna get a lot of support, especially because of the bronies.
The bronies are a force to be reckoned with. They will get that game funded. I know it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Act After, I'm going to let you go so we can get some more calls. So thanks so much for the call.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Good to see you. All right. Take care, buddy.
Take care.
Bye. That's fun. All right, 1-877-GAME OLR, or our username on Skype is Orange Lounge Radio, all one word. If you'd like to give us a call.
Did you notice his microphone?
No, I didn't.
It was a handheld K-Rev rock band microphone.
Oh, was it Karaoke Revolution? I thought it was like rock band.
That style, meaning it wasn't like a headset, but it was a. I love the fact that those things are dual purpose like that.
Like a USB mic type of thing.
And just handheld like us.
All right. While I wait for some more calls to come in, if anybody else is going to call in, again, that's 1-877. You don't have to send us video. If you're shy, that's fine. 1-877-GAME OLR, or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, if you want to give us a call and talk about whatever.
Call us.
Loki, do you have last-minute stories you want to talk about?
Real quick, I was going to mention that Nintendo has apparently lost a patent lawsuit, and it was against a company called Tomita. And now this is for a patent for, I guess, some of the camera technology that's used in the 3DS. They now have to pay 1.82% of the wholesale price on every 3DS sold.
All right, we got another call coming in here, so let's go to it. We're going to go to the phones. Hi, you're on Orange Launch Radio. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kai Judo.
Hey, Kai Judo. How you doing?
I'm all right. I just want to give you guys some quick advice. You guys were talking about the, well, what the hell do you call it? The, the maiden name, what the hell is that called again? When you forget, when you forget your password. The,
the what?
I forgot what is it again?
The porn name game?
I totally forgot what I'm drawing a blank. What is it called?
The porn name game?
No, not the porn name.
The little memes?
Your security question.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, that thing. Did anybody ever stop to think that you don't actually have to put any type of name? You could just put like a series of just like random letters and numbers and codes like a password. That's what I do.
You really could.
I never put like maiden names or street addresses or anything like that. I'm like, they don't, you don't need to put that in there.
I would be afraid that I would lose that, like that I would put in like the dummy information, I would lose that. But if I had like an ultra safe way to keep that information, I think that's a brilliant idea. Like the whole like my made up story about me. This is the fake street I grew up on. This is my mom's fake maiden name, and just like going down the list, I think would be actually like a pretty brilliant thing. Just as long as my forgetful ass would lose it, wouldn't it, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, like I wouldn't. Yeah, like I wouldn't recommend it for like like any type of credit card account, like nothing major like that. But like for video games, what I do is after I have the questions in, I take a screenshot and I print that out and I just put that in with the game.
Oh,
it's a PC game, and I have all my questions there with all my random letters and numbers.
That's smart.
That's how I do it.
And I suppose I should say this at some point too, because I've heard of these applications. And Jason, you're a bigger nerd than me when it comes to stuff like this. Surely you've heard of this stuff before. There's these applications out there that like it's like a wallet type of thing, like that you store on your drive, where it's like one password, but that one password generates other passwords for whatever sites.
That is actually a prominent name of one of those applications called 1Password.
Oh, well, there you go. I just gave somebody a free plug. There you go. And they have mobile.
Agile Bits, I believe, is the company that produces 1Password.
I think I have a friend that works for one of those companies, but it's on mobile.
I've heard of a lot of them. They've been a dime a dozen for years and years, and unfortunately, some of them masquerade as the problems themselves, malware.
That's scary.
But the big two that I hear about constantly are 1Password and LastPass.
Those two. Yeah, I don't necessarily trust those. Like I just rather have. I don't know. I'm the type of person I like to have different passwords for everything. I'm just all over the place, and I try to keep track of them. I usually forget them, and I always have to go back and like reset them. But I'm like, I don't care.
I think it's a great idea, and I don't blame you whatsoever. And I think this is good to talk about alternatives and all these things that people can do to make sure that their accounts stay safe. Quickly, Kaijudo, before I let you go, what else have you been playing lately? What games have you been into?
I've been playing everything. I was wanting to mention to you guys. There's a game that I started. It's kind of like, I hate the game Terraria, but I can only compare it to Terraria. But I actually don't like that game. But it's a game called Starbound, which has a lot of potential to it. It's one of the, what the hell do you call it? The Steam early access things. And it's pretty much almost done. It's like in beta mode right now. And you start off in the spaceship. It's 2D. It's Minecraft in 2D, but you're like flying through space. And there's like all these different planets that you can travel to. Some of them have life in it. Some of the life is hostile. Some of the life is friendly. It's a really cool game. But it gets a little hard, and you get a little burned out on it. And because it's an early access, there's a few a few times it'll like crash on you, it'll do like weird stuff. But it definitely looks like it has a lot of potential. I hope that they're able to like implement everything that they're talking about here, because they're talking about space battle. They're talking about, they're thinking big with this game, and I'm just like, I hope they can pull that off, because there was an app that I was really excited about called Star Command. You guys heard about that game? Well, Star Command, real short, it was an app where these guys are like, oh, we're gonna make this thing like Star Trek. We're gonna have diplomacy. You're gonna be able to like travel to different planets. And basically, you're gonna live out your life as a starship captain. You're gonna like go to planets and interact with people, and just like Starbound, some of them are gonna be friendly, some of them are gonna be mean. And they got about 35% of that game done, and they decided to release it. And it's good.
I just gotta say, I wasn't super into Terraria either. I'm not knocking the game. I see why people are into it. I just couldn't really get into it myself. But Minecraft took me a while to wise up to. But I love the idea of a 2D Minecraft, so I'm gonna have to check this game out myself. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed real quickly, you might be like me, and what I hate about Terraria and what I love about Minecraft is there's slowdown points in Minecraft. And Terraria is just all this hectic shit, and you're constantly jumping over shit, and shit is coming after you. And that drives me crazy. That's one of the reasons why I didn't like comparing what the hell is that game with the it came out for Xbox. I think it was like where you were like an alien and you were fighting the military. It's supposed to be like open world. You know what I'm talking about? Where like you morphed into different guys, like you can take their body.
Are you thinking of Destroy All Humans?
What is it called?
Destroy All Humans?
No. It came out at the same time as a Sony superhero game. What's the name of their game where you have like the electricity?
Somebody came out around the same time.
Yeah, well, I noticed about that game, the two differences again between those two games is
Prototype?
There's a slowdown point. When you get older as a gamer, you kind of appreciate those slowdown moments. You don't want to.
Loki's thinking the game was Prototype?
That's it. Yeah, Prototype. Prototype was just constant. They're just constantly shooting at you. There's no break point.
Gotcha.
And that's what I hate about Terraria. And that's all I got.
All right, Kaijudo, buddy, I got to let you go so we can wrap up the show. But thanks so much for the call. You take care, okay? Thanks for the tip on the game. All right. That is going to do it for the Skype line, because Dark Sakura, you got a thing that you got to go, right? So we got to wrap up the show.
Yeah, my husband and I were supposed to have a date after the show, and I was going to text him when we were done.
Oops.
And he's like, I'm already at Cheesecake Factory.
Oops.
So.
All right, well, now if you want to meet Jamie after the show, you know where to go.
Yeah, and I'm not paying for you guys, so.
There you go. So sadly,
I didn't say which Cheesecake Factory.
There you go. That's right. There's a ton in the world. All right. Quickly, I just want to do some tweets here before we wrap up. And Jamie, don't leave, because I have something I got to give you too. Let's see. Twitter. I know I saw our old pal who was on the show a while ago, Asuka, had tweeted and said, I'm currently tuned into OLR. And that just reminded me to say, I think I might have mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but in case I didn't, Asuka is on season 2 of King of the Nerds. So not only was she on the Sony reality show, now she's on the TBS reality show. Very happy for her. Best of luck to her.
She's so fun.
Yeah, she's fun. And she's a member of the OL Army. So if you don't know who to root for on this show, now you do, because we endorse her.
And act def bullshit.
What?
I am not paying for you at the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh.
I'm not. I'll put it this way. I'm not even paying for me. I have a gift card.
She's washing dishes. Okay. I want to give this shout out, tweet a shout out to Pod Culture, saying, saw something at a Kmart that they were pushing for the new consoles. And my first reaction was, there's a Kmart still open somewhere? No, there's...
Right around the corner from my house.
No, I know they're huge. Well, the one right over here on Sunrise closed. They're gone now. So... But, yeah, let's see. It's a rent-to-own program, I guess, is something that Kmart is starting. And this is something that you could do for the new consoles if you want. So basically...
So they're being ghetto like Rent-A-Center.
Pass.
I guess, but you know what? Hey, you know what? I just see it as they got to do something that Target and Walmart aren't doing. Because what they're doing right now isn't working. So,
well, they are doing something that Target and Walmart aren't doing. They're failing, unfortunately. There have been a lot of programs like this that I've been seeing lately. There was one from Best Buy recently that was basically like, pay a little bit and be able to upgrade early. It all revolved around tablets and mobile phones, so smartphones, and probably TVs and whatnot as well. These programs are all bullshit, and don't. do the research, find out how much money you're going to spend, weigh that against what you can. Be smart with your money.
The problem with rent to own like that too is that you have to deal with investing in repo people when people don't pay.
Ugh. What a mess. All right, we are going to wrap things up and get final thoughts. I do have one other thing I got to get out here, Dark Sakura.
Fist?
Yes, I'm going to punch you with it. No. This is something that apparently you had expressed a desire in having, and so our friend of the show who was here about a year ago, Tim Tripp, wanted me to pass this on to you.
Awesome!
I just opened there's a DS cart in there.
It's my Japanese coach.
There you go.
Because I've been wanting to practice. Yeah, the only thing
and
is
of course, my forgetful ass forgot to give it to her, so...
Thank you, Tim.
Tim must be listening because he texted me going, "Did you give her that game?" I'm
Thank you,
shit.
Tim.
All right, so there you go. Thanks.
We need to hang out again soon.
All right, now we got to go around and get everybody's final thoughts and wrap up. Loki, thank you for being here tonight, and good luck with everything, especially if the baby should arrive this week. Best of luck to you.
Oh yeah, I'll need it.
All right, sounds good. Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners tonight?
Go play the Minecraft server.
That's right. Go play on the Minecraft server.
We have 2 people already on there right now.
All right.
I'm spying on them.
You're spying on them. That's awesome. My final thought, I have 2 final thoughts tonight. My first final thought is don't fuck with my house. My second, in Minecraft. Well, in real life, too. You shouldn't
Don't
do that.
fuck with my Normandy.
Just, yeah, don't fuck with me in general. And my number 2 final thought is I need more people to play Path of Exile with. So if you want to go...
It's Windows only. I wanted to try it out.
Bummer. Yeah. I didn't realize that. That's free to play. So if you want to come play a roguelike and crawl some dungeons with me, let's play that. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on my Twitter. Jason, thank you for being here as always.
Always.
You the best.
I the best.
You the best.
You are.
You really are. Your final thought for our listeners tonight.
Be safe, people. New year, new wonderment, and also new problems. So be safe and play it smart out there.
All right. And lastly, but not leastly, heading out to the Cheesecake Factory. She'll be signing autographs from 10 to 11 tonight.
2 things. 1, I think it's hilarious that Shane just joined the chat room. And number 2...
Why is that hilarious? He does listen to the show
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, but we're about to end the show.
Oh, because we're ending the show. No, he came in to send me a private message yelling at me about something. That's usually how it goes.
Number 2, I'm having cheesecake. Sakura out.
All right, that does it for another episode of Orange Lounge Radio. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. If you liked what you heard over the past few hours, don't forget, guys, support independent radio. We need your help. Word of mouth is all we've got. Because I'll tell you what, the major podcast award shows out there, they ain't doing shit for us because it's always some big show that's got tons of advertising bucks and websites with millions of visitors. They sweep everything. So
We should start our own award series
called Indies Rule.
Exactly. Or, if you get more than like $10 of support from any, or like more than a certain amount of support from a major facility, then you're disqualified.
Just spread the word about your favorite indie show. Be it us, be it some other, be it Bobby Blackwolf's show or Pod Culture, maybe another show on VOG, maybe another show on another network, maybe Radio PlayStation who sent us a tweet tonight. They're awesome
show,
too.
My favorite show is Anime Jam Session.
So go spread the love about your favorite independent broadcasting. And you know what? If you think you want to do this yourself someday, I don't see you as competition. I see you as a friend. Let's help you podcast. Get your word out there. Have your voice. And just don't be a dick about it. Don't fucking swat people.
And don't eat my cheesecake.
And don't eat my cheesecake. Good night, everybody.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into VogNetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or VOG Network, but they were all still true. See you next week.